Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Vachna 2024. We are about to start the session, so I request everyone to take their seats.
Settle down, everyone. The guests have arrived.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Vachna 2024. In the words of Abraham Maslow, one can choose to go back towards safety or forward towards growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again.
In a realm where innovation is revolutionizing our lives at the speed of light, this new epoch of collaboration is witnessing a galvanizing disruption where artificial intelligence is advancing far beyond the confines of our comprehension. The horizon of how organizations manage their most valuable asset, the people, is being re envisioned. It is altering the way we perceive human intelligence and resources. This very surge of technology has empowered HR to metamorphose into the helmsman of an ever changing corporate landscape, redefining the essence of talent acquisition and retention in a world where change is the only constant.
With immeasurable excitement and immense pride, we cordially invite you to behold the grand unveiling of the most awaited event of the year, Vachna 2024. The marquee event the marquee event of the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur, where the sharpest intellects converge to delve into the forefront of HR innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Snigdha Chakravarti,
And I am Shantanu Tanpure.
and we are delighted to be your host for this momentous event.
Enshrined along winding, tree-lined avenues and embraced by tranquil forests, the campus of IIT Kharagpur stands as a radiant jewel in the crown of scientific learning. Sprawled across an expansive 2,200 acres, this revered institution hums with an energy that bridges the realms of knowledge and innovation. Here, amidst the sprawling academic paradise, lies the Vinod Gupta School of Management, a place where the spirit of IIT's genius finds its perfect balance with the art of management. In this sanctuary, technical prowess finds its complement in managerial wisdom, crafting a unique fusion of minds where every idea takes flight. It is here where the murmur of theory transforms into the lightning bolt of revelation and where strategy becomes a living, breathing force of integration.
At VGSoM, we cultivate visionary leaders equipped with the foresight and strategic insight to navigate the complexities of the modern world. Our institute embodies the spirit of innovation and disruption, empowering the leaders of tomorrow to anticipate the ever-changing landscape and steer India towards a promising future.
Renowned as one of the leading institutions in the arena of business management, VGSoM consistently provides its students with exceptional career opportunities in a wide range of prestigious organizations. The institute has set itself apart among top-tier business schools by continuously redefining excellence and setting new benchmarks in corporate partnerships. Dedicated towards shaping techno-managerial leaders of the future, VGSoM has excelled in nurturing and strengthening industry relationships.
Industry-leading organizations like Accenture, DE Shaw, GSK, ITC Limited, IBM, Morgan Stanley, P&G, PwC, Reckitt, Wells Fargo and others consider VGSoM a prime destination for recruitment. With an average pre-MBA work experience of 23 months, students take on significant roles in domains such as consulting, supply chain, operations, product, strategy, sales and marketing, repeatedly demonstrating their exceptional capabilities. The previous placement season was a grand success with the average compensation package reaching 20.83 LPA and the highest offer being 37.07 LPA.
Now, get ready to be captivated as you step into the world of VGSoM, where distinction meets ambition. This video offers an exclusive glimpse into the remarkable features that define VGSoM and its exceptional students. Witness the confluence of innovation, leadership, and opportunity that elevates VGSoM to the pinnacle of academic and professional brilliance.
Welcome to the Vinod Gupta School of Management, where innovation meets excellence and dreams turn into achievements. VGSoM, the first B school in the IIT ecosystem, was founded by a distinguished alumnus and lifetime fellow of IIT Kharagpur, Mr. Vinod Gupta, in 1993. VGSoM offers programs that groom future industry leaders with a distinct fusion of managerial and technological expertise to excel in the business world. With over 30 years of history, VGSoM boasts a rich legacy, earning numerous accolades and a consistent top ranking among B schools by prestigious bodies. VGSoM's flagship program is a full-time residential offering tailored for graduates and master's degree holders in science, economics, and commerce. It blends lectures, case studies, group projects, and workshops, ranking among India's best. The diverse curriculum includes a wide range of electives spanning core managerial and technological courses, and students gain industry exposure through a 2-month summer internship. VGSoM features a highly experienced faculty hailing from various management fields.
The campus offers round-the-clock access to central facilities such as a library with an exclusive digital section, a gym, canteen and a guest house, swimming pool along with other sporting amenities. Over the past 30 years, VGSoM has been dedicated to fostering the all-encompassing growth of future business leaders and has played a substantial role in the field of management education. It truly stands as a pioneer. Leveraging its technical prowess, IIT Kharagpur provides VGSoM with necessary infrastructure, intellectual resources, and a robust alumni network, all driven by a resolute ambition to be the nation's premier institution. The Vinod Gupta School of Management invites you to join us on this journey of continuous service to the nation and reach new heights together.
We hope you enjoyed the video as much as we took pride in crafting and presenting it to you. May this video stand as a poignant reminder that we possess this small sanctuary in the world to craft cherished moments we will hold dear for a lifetime. Through learning, growth, stumbles, and resilience, we transform into compassionate, resilient, and luminous individuals that we are meant to become. We must take a moment to express our earnest gratitude to all the honorable guests and esteemed faculty members for gracing this occasion with their enigmatic presence.
Lighting a lamp is a profound symbol signifying our collective ability to banish the darkness of ignorance by kindling the flame of righteousness. The radiant glow of the lamp evokes positivity, harmony, and tranquility. To mark the auspicious beginning of this event, we humbly invite our distinguished dignitaries, Honorable Advisor VGSoM Professor P.K. Ray, Dean VGSoM Professor Sangeeta Sahni, and our panelists to honor us by gracing the dais and participating in the ceremonial lighting of the lamp.
I request the guests to kindly take their seats on the dais. Thank you, Thank you, honorable guests. Thank you, advisor sir. Thank you, Dean ma'am. In a world that's constantly evolving, the role of leadership has never been more critical. True leaders aren't just managers, they are catalysts for change. They inspire, innovate, and navigate the complexities of our interconnected world. It is our distinct honor to extend a heartfelt welcome to Professor Sangeeta Sahni, the esteemed Dean of the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur. Her leadership has not only shaped our institution, but has also left an indelible mark on the broader business landscape. An integral part of IIT Kharagpur since 2005, Professor Sahni has distinguished herself as a dedicated academician and a visionary leader. Her profound expertise in marketing, organizational behavior, and human resources has significantly enriched the institute and the broader field of management education. Professor Sahni's scholarly pursuits have culminated in numerous peer-reviewed publications and a highly acclaimed book on consumer behavior. We are privileged to welcome a leader who has not only set new benchmarks for excellence, but has also inspired countless individuals to reach greater heights. We would like to humbly request our beloved faculty, Professor Saini Das ma'am, to felicitate the Dean VGSoM, Professor Sangeeta Sahni ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in extending a warm welcome to Professor Sani, a remarkable woman with a legacy of excellence and visionary leadership. As she takes the stage to address our esteemed gathering, we are privileged to have the opportunity to learn from her vast experience and gain valuable insights into the future of leadership and innovation.
Good morning. Please, faculty, students. This is a moment waiting for quite a number of weeks. And when we host such events, we realize how happy those moments are to welcome people from the industry, the corporate, because otherwise we live in our own academic world. Through you all, we get a feel of what happens in the world outside and what our alumni who have been working out must be or are like. So this is a proud moment for us not only to host you here, but also to experience and learn from you what all happens out there, outside the walls of the academia. I'm sure most of you were also, this side when you were students, all of you rather, and while you were doing your MBA or while you were doing your specialized courses, you were thinking of what the world is outside. I think our students today feel the same. Some of them with WorkX, of course, have had a feel. Some of them who are freshers have not yet had a feel. And you are going to give that feel to them today, where they'll realize how these 2 years can change lives. And especially when those 2 years are in a premier institute like IIT Kharagpur, what they can lead to. It would, while we talk of disrupting the norm, here we talk of a total transformation that could happen to our lives post IIT Kharagpur and post Gupta School of Management. So with this, I would like to share a few words with you all. But before I do that, I extend a very warm welcome to you again, each one of you here at Vachna 2024, where we host the esteemed HR Conclave, hosted by Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur. Now this flagship event brings together some of the very, very bright minds, experienced minds, which we have here on the dais with us today. And they are the ones who are going to talk to us about what happens outside, typically keeping our theme in mind, which is talent acquisition and retention in the age of digitalization and AI. I'm sure all of you are having a tough time on that as well, right? While this is a huge opportunity, any disruption is an opportunity, but it brings challenges. And the bigger the disruption, the greater the challenge, but the greater the gains. And we all have to learn from that. So we are immensely proud to host this distinguished panel, comprising some of the most insightful leaders and thinkers who have graciously joined us to share their expertise on digitalization and AI, and how that is reshaping the way corporates attract talent and retain talent. And this discussion promises a wealth of orientations, a wealth of perspectives as we navigate to navigate the evolving challenges and opportunities of the workforce today. Our theme today, talent acquisition and retention in the age of digitalization and AI, touches on the profound impact that technology has had on HR practices, from automating recruitment processes to leveraging data for personalized employee experiences. The age is redefining talent management and human resources. With all avenues and possibilities, while we think of revolutionizing the entire context of how organizations would function, this is also how to bring in huge amount of employee engagement and commitment for the organization. Across the globe, the HR leaders, the corporate leaders are navigating this new, absolutely uncharted landscape. And this shift transcends borders as well as we address the rapidly changing nature of workforce today, and we consider both the opportunities and challenges from the global perspective. The global call for innovation in HR practices is very, very clear as we strive to shape the future of work, rather reshape the future, right, with a multitude of viewpoints. So today's esteemed panelists who've joined us today will discuss how organizations can adapt, including the role of flexibility, very importantly, change management, and AI-driven insights in crafting a dynamic and future-ready workforce. One disruption, we were discussing in the morning, we have with us some of the alums here also who are very proudly associated with our school as faculty. And we're just discussing, I said, when we talk about disruption, I mean, the biggest disruption that happened within us here in the ecosystem was when our illustrious and very generous and alum, Mr. Vinod Gupta, decided to bring in a disruption of his own kind about 30 years ago, when he spoke about having a B school in a tech school, right? This itself was a disruption. And all of us who are proudly are a part of IIT Kharagpur, Gupta School of Management, are today encashing on that disruption, I would say. All of us. Because that time, in 1993, it was absolutely unheard of that there could be a standalone, there could be a business school in a tech system, in a tech ecosystem, in an engineering institute of eminence. And that point in time, I'm sure Professor Rai is here, he was there at that time. There was huge, surprise, I'm sure a shock element, how is it possible? The management is not for engineering institutes, right? Technology institutes should only be into technology and whether it is teaching, research, and projects and consultancy and so forth. But Mr. Vinod Gupta had a dream, he said, why not? If that can happen in Harvard and MIT, why cannot it happen in India? And that's how the disruption, and the then director, Mr. K.L. Chopra, Professor K.L. Chopra, he took it as a challenge. He convinced the stakeholders within the system. He was able to manage and deal and convince the stakeholders in the government, in the ministry, where again the question had come, IIMs are there for management, what will you do if you're going to start a management school? But that was done. And if it was not done, we all would not have been here. And not only us, emulating us, so many other IITs started. Shailesh J. Mehta happened, IIT Delhi's Department of Management Studies happened, and they all started giving their MBA degrees, which till then, some of them gave an MTech in management systems or systems management. So there is a disruption which happened, and we are very proud, happy of the fact that that was a disruption which was a non-digital disruption, but in a big way transformed the lives of so many of us. So, Vinod Gupta School of Management is home to internationally acclaimed leaders, influencers, and change makers, and is proud to be one of the country's leading business schools. Our motto, dedicated to the service of the nation, guides our commitment to the empowering students who go on to make significant contributions in the field of science, technology, and society. Many of you here today, my students, are poised to become future leaders. And today is a day when you can really get to know of how the panel here has taken up leadership roles, the kind of challenges they face today in the age of digitalization and AI. So I know we are all waiting to hear them, and so I should not take much of their time. I shouldn't eat away into their time. And I extend a very warm welcome to all of you here again, and my best wishes for the proceedings ahead. So let us make most of this valuable opportunity to learn from them, to listen to them, and to imbibe their philosophies and orientations in our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We extend our heartfelt thanks for your enlightening remarks. Your thought-provoking observations have significantly enhanced the understanding of our aspiring leaders and provided a valuable framework for today's activities. We are truly indebted for your ongoing guidance and encouragement.
Education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. With utmost joy, we would like to welcome Professor Pradeep Kumar Ray, Emeritus Professor, Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering and Advisor, VGSoM IIT Kharagpur. A maestro in industrial engineering, yet a humble person, Professor Ray is a cherished alumnus of IIT Kharagpur, where he fulfilled both his master's degree and doctorate. Professor Ray holds vast experience in healthcare system optimization, service performance modeling, and ergonomics. Currently, he is acting as a chief expert guiding APO-sponsored projects for 6 Asian countries. Professor Ray holds various accolades to his name. He is recipient of the ORSIPC Mahalanobis Award, APO National Award, SRESA Award, among others, and is a distinguished fellow of the Institution of Engineers India and the World Academy of Productivity Science. We humbly request Professor Surojit Mukherjee to felicitate Professor Pradeep Kumar Ray and grace the occasion. Now, we would like to invite Professor Ray to address the gathering and enlighten the curious minds.
Dignitaries on the dais, my esteemed faculty colleagues, and my dear students. Very good morning to all of you, and it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome all the dignitaries on the dais, and I'm sure that the interactions we'll have with our distinguished dignitaries, panelists, will be very, very effective, and we'll learn a lot. Now, as you are aware, that this particular, what we can say, that event is organized to discuss a highly important and relevant topic in today's context. And that you all know is the talent acquisition and retention in the age of digitalization and artificial intelligence. Now the entire world, today, particularly certain sectors across the world, they've been, propagating, I will say, the concept of artificial intelligence. And obviously there are reasons, scientific reasons, though we all know that artificial intelligence was introduced many years back. So obviously many companies, they feel like using it. And almost all sorts of companies, like MSME, large organizations, public sectors, then the government-run organizations, even the service organizations, they are tempted, and there are logical, the reasonings and all. So the main reason is that as digital transformation and artificial intelligence reshape our world, that's our, the assumption. These technologies are also fundamentally changing how organizations attract, retain, and develop talent. Now, in today's business environment, where competition for skilled professionals is more intense than ever, and usually even what we need today, that is the worker, he also must be aware of, what is the knowledge-based jobs. It's not only the skill-based jobs. And you will find there are highly educated persons becoming workmen. So we are honored to have with us a distinguished panel of thought leaders, practitioners, and innovators. Together they bring a wealth of experience and insight to the table, offering us diverse perspectives on how we can harness these new age tools to create workplaces that are not only efficient but also inclusive, flexible, and adaptive. Particularly in Indian context, it has to be highly flexible but most effective and efficient. Now, as we'll be discussing our distinguished guests will be, they share their opinions, their thinking to the students primarily. Now, I would like to highlight certain important issues. Now, whatever maybe the technology you say adopt, you introduce, you adopt, even you diffusion of technology, ultimately everything we do for the human beings. So our main purpose is, as it is HR Conclave, our focus is people at the workplace. In today's context, you will find we talk about technology, but technology at what cost? So the certain issues our present generation must be aware of. One is the technology, any technology you name. You name any technology since time immemorial in the history of mankind, technology reaches its maturity stage, and after it reaches its maturity stage, there's a lot of studies on this one by the great scientists and the thinkers. So what they have said, that at certain point in time, there is a negative impact, there is a positive impact. So its negative effects gets exposed, and then negative outweighs positive. So I'm sure that our distinguished panelists will discuss these issues. It's very, very important, in fact. And then what we should adopt, like when we talk about the ergonomic design of for a product, for a process, for a system, for any type of organization, you will find we try to have a sustainable system and applying fit job to man, not the other way around, that I bring the technology and you have to adopt that. Is it okay? So it never happens. So that's why you say that the technology for humans, not the other way around, that humans for the technology. If you go through the history of the factory systems particularly, it has been the long practice from the medieval age, even 50 years back, 60 years back. Is it okay? So I have introduced the technology, you have to adopt it, I will throw you out from the company. Then another important aspect is, particularly in our context, how many companies, you join and you feel that yes, till the last day of my working life, I'll continue with these companies. How many companies you have, which is referred to as the lifetime employment? Particularly in Indian context, this is very much required. What the Japanese companies in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they have implemented. So what are the qualities of a particular organizations? You join their company, you'll feel like, I'll continue. Okay, this is one aspect. Then most of the companies, you know it very well, what is unstable equilibrium? In the physics we have learned, what is unstable equilibrium? You have reached to the top, but at any point in time, at t equals to t, you are at that level. Most of the companies, they're facing this situation. Steep competition due to globalizations and all. So what you will find is an unstable equilibrium you right now you're at the top, and the next moment you are nowhere. So this, the problems, how to tackle it, the problem under uncertainty. So these are the issues. And another thing is, most of the companies in today's context, they have to adopt level 3 leadership. Level 1 gone, level 2 also gone. So level 3 leadership, most of the companies, they must adopt. And sustainability and technology. I am sure in the today's, the interaction sessions with you, till 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Okay, so they will be deliberating on these issues and all, and we'll learn a lot. So thank you for joining us. I extend my sincere best wishes for the proceedings ahead and hope that you will all find this event as enriching and thought-provoking as we have envisioned. Thank you very much. Okay, so wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are deeply grateful for your invaluable insights. They have broadened the horizons of our students and have inspired them to pursue fulfilling careers. Your unwavering support is truly appreciated.
Real leadership is about transforming limitations into possibilities. Professor Rintu Banerjee is the founding head and current chairperson of the P.K. Sinha Center for Bioenergy and Renewables and has served as the head of the Department of Agricultural and Food Engineering, Center for Rural Development, Innovative and Sustainable Technology, and as Dean Research and Development at IIT Kharagpur. Professor Banerjee was appointed as the Deputy Director of IIT Kharagpur in 2024, making her the first woman to hold this position. She has received several awards, including the Punjab Rao Deshmukh Award for Outstanding Woman Scientist from ICAR, Best Woman Bioscientist Award from Biotech Research Society of India, Young Scientist Award 94 from the Association for Food Scientists and Technologists India, Dr. Prem Dureja Endowment, Institute Chair Professor from IIT Kharagpur, Louis Pasteur Award, Madan Mohan Malviya Award, and Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award. She was also recognized as the most inspiring woman scientist and engineer for the year 2014 by Engineering Watch New Delhi and has more than 12,000 citations to her name. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us today, but she has a message for us. We would like to call upon our Professor Sanjeev Chaudhary to deliver the esteemed Deputy Director's message.
Good morning to everybody. So I will read the Deputy Director's speech who could not come here due to his other engagement. So should I esteemed dignitaries, faculty. Okay. Am I audible? Okay. She gives her message, esteemed dignitaries, faculty and students. It is an honor to stand before you today as we gather for this esteemed event. Vachana 2024, hosted by the Vinod Gupta School of Management at IIT Kharagpur. Today we come together to engage in meaningful conversations about one of the most dynamic and evolving areas in the modern business: talent acquisition and retention in the age of digitalization and AI. I am delighted to welcome each of you as we explore how these technologies are reshaping the workforce and the challenges that come with the transformation. In the recent year, the field of human resources has witnessed a profound shift. Technologies like AI and digital tools are not just tools for efficiency. They are redefining the essence of talent management, from automating the hiring process to creating personalized experiences for employees. Digitalization opens new doors to understanding and retaining talent in unprecedented ways. Our discussions today aim to shine a light on these advancements, drawing insights from some of the most forward-thinking minds in the industry who are here. This gathering of distinguished speakers and esteemed professionals is truly inspiring. Each one of you brings a unique perspective, adding to the richness of our dialogues as we address these global challenges. Together, we will examine the complexities and opportunities of managing talent in the digital era and consider how we can create resilient, adaptable workforces ready to meet the demands for tomorrow. At the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur, we are deeply committed to equip our students with knowledge, skills, and the values they need to become leaders of change. Events like Vachana are an integral part of this mission, providing a platform for our students to learn from industry pioneers and broaden their understanding of the world they will soon shape. I am grateful for the opportunity to be part of this impactful event and look forward to the discussions ahead. Let us embrace this chance to learn, exchange ideas, and build a future-ready approach to talent management. Thank you and welcome to Vachana 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Leadership is not about titles or positions. It is about the ability to inspire others to do more, to achieve more, and to become more. Before plunging into what we have gathered here for, we would like to take the opportunity to introduce our illustrious panel.
Managing people is more than a function. It's about shaping core values, cultivating cultures of innovation, and driving sustainable growth through transformational leadership. We are privileged to introduce our esteemed panelist, Ms. Aditi Mukherjee, Chief People Officer at National Commodity and Derivatives Exchange Limited, India's largest technology-driven agri-commodity exchange. Ms. Mukherjee's illustrious career spans over 24 years, marked by her exceptional ability to build future-ready talent, foster innovation, and align human capital strategies with business growth. Since April 2023, she has been spearheading the human resources and CSR functions at NCDX, ensuring the seamless integration of people, policy, and performance. Before assuming a role at NCDX, she held pivotal leadership positions at Tata Steel and PwC, where she played an instrumental role in shaping HR practices across complex multicultural environments. Her expertise in talent management, organizational restructuring, change management, and employee engagement has been central to the success of multiple business transformation projects. An alumna of the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and a certified corporate director, Ms. Mukherjee is also an International Coaching Federation ACC credential holder. She serves on the Advisory Council of the NHRD East and has previously represented the HR Committee of CII across the Western and Eastern regions. Ms. Mukherjee's thought leadership and contributions to the field have earned her prestigious recognitions, including CHRO of the Year 2022 and Best HR Team Award 2022. With a proven track record across industries ranging from consulting to sustainable growth, she continues to champion innovative people practices. We are honored to have Ms. Aditi Mukherjee with us today. Please join me in welcoming her with a warm round of applause as we invite Professor Parma Barai to felicitate her. Thank you, ma'am. Leadership is not just about managing people. It's about inspiring them, fostering growth, and creating environments where innovation thrives. We are thrilled to introduce our esteemed panelist, Ms. Darshika Chandra Khare, Director, Head Asia Pacific Learning Strategy and Execution at Johnson & Johnson, a global leader in healthcare and pharmaceuticals.
Ms. Khare brings over 17 years of rich experience across diverse HR domains. Her leadership spans critical areas such as talent development, organizational effectiveness, and HR strategy. She has consistently demonstrated her expertise in nurturing leadership talent, building inclusive cultures, and deploying innovative HR systems and analytics to accelerate business growth. At Johnson & Johnson, Ms. Khare leads the learning and talent development strategy for the Asia Pacific region, and she has previously led HR for the South Asia Pharmaceuticals business. She has also held senior leadership positions at Godrej and Nature Basket, where she led talent management and performance initiatives. An alumna of the Goa Institute of Management, Ms. Khare's global exposure includes programs at the University of Applied Sciences in Germany. She has been recognized as one of the BW Business World's 40 under 40 HR professionals for her pioneering work in the field. We are honored to have Ms. Darshika Chandra Khare with us today. Please join me in extending a warm round of applause as we invite Professor Shali Singh to felicitate her.
Thank you, ma'am. Beyond the mechanics of management, great leaders focus on developing their teams, building strong relationships, and creating a shared vision. We are privileged to introduce our esteemed panelist, Mr. Ravi Kumar, Chief People Officer at Page Industries Limited.
Mr. Kumar's career spans over 2 decades, marked by an exceptional ability to foster sustainable people practices that influence organizational culture and groundbreaking business outcomes. Since April 2022, he has been leading the charge at Page Industries, ensuring the company's people strategies align with its dynamic growth. Before joining Page Industries, Mr. Kumar held pivotal leadership roles at Roche, where he was responsible for overseeing the people and culture business partnering across India, Middle East, and Africa regions. His expertise extends across diverse and fast-growing markets, ensuring local business needs are integrated into a cohesive global strategy. His journey in HR leadership began with Saint-Gobain, Larsen & Toubro, and Roche Diagnostics India, where he not only managed but also redefined human resource strategies for large multicultural organizations. A proud Xavier Institute of Social Service alumnus with a PGT PM in Human Resources, Mr. Kumar is recognized for his insights into talent management, organizational transformation, and leadership coaching. With his wealth of experience across industries and geographies, we are excited to welcome Mr. Ravi Kumar to share his insights with us today. Please join me in giving him a warm round of applause as we invite Professor Sanjeev Chaudhary to felicitate him. Thank you, sir.
Success in today's dynamic environment stems from how effectively we harness knowledge to navigate the unknown. Today, it is an honor to introduce Mr. Sandeep S. Joshi, Chief Talent Officer at GOBP. Mr. Joshi is a seasoned HR leader with over 25 years of diverse experience across various sectors. He holds a master's in human resource development management from NMIMS Mumbai and a BE in chemical engineering. He has held HR leadership positions in Reliance Industries and Infosys. In his current role at GOBP, a joint venture between Reliance and BP, Mr. Joshi has been instrumental in building capabilities for new businesses such as electric vehicle charging and fuel retail while driving strategic initiatives in talent management, succession planning, employee development, and so on. His experience spans M&A, HR, transformation, and organizational change management across global operations. Mr. Joshi's journey underscores the importance of evolving with the workforce and investing in future skills to drive organizational success. His passion for human capital development is reflected in his impactful contributions to every organization he has been part of. As a token of appreciation, I would now like to invite Professor C.S. Mishra to felicitate Mr. Sandeep S. Joshi. Thank you, sir.
Talent intelligence is about leveraging data to drive decisions, anticipate challenges, and create the workforce of the future. Mr. Vivek Jyothi brings over 15 years of robust experience in talent acquisition, diversity, equity, inclusion, and talent intelligence across multiple geographies and industries. He currently leads the talent intelligence function at Kimberly-Clark, where he spearheads solutions across Asia Pacific and EMEA, helping business leaders navigate complexities such as competitor benchmarking, location studies, diversity metrics, and future of work white papers. Before joining Kimberly-Clark, Mr. Jyoti played a key role at Adidas, where he led and scaled global research and sourcing teams across Germany, the US, and China. As Global Head of Talent Research and Sourcing, he achieved annual cost savings of 1.5 million euros by optimizing sourcing strategies and performance metrics while implementing an ROI framework that provided valuable insights to talent acquisition leaders. Mr. Jyothi's career journey is marked by a focus on transforming talent sourcing from a tactical function to a strategic pillar. He has led numerous initiatives such as executive level talent research, the integration of KPIs and SLAs in sourcing processes, and promoting diversity as a core driver of innovation. In addition to his professional achievement, Mr. Jyothi is a thought leader and a sought-after speaker at major global events, including SourceCon in Amsterdam and Sourcing Summit in Germany, where he shared insights on scaling talent sourcing, building partnership with key stakeholders, and driving impactful recruitment strategies in lesser-known locations. It is an absolute privilege to welcome Mr. Vivek Jyothi today, and we invite Professor Bishwaroop Ghosh to kindly felicitate him. Thank you, sir.
Great leaders don't just manage change, they inspire transformation through people. Today, we are privileged to introduce Mr. Amit Sachdev, Chief People Officer and Business Solution Evangelist at Tata Insights and Cons, a division of Tata Industries.
Good morning, VGSoM.
With a remarkable career spanning over 24 years, Mr. Amit Sachdev has established himself as a visionary leader in human resources and organizational transformation. He holds a master's degree in human resources from the Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship Development, Bharati Vidyapit, Pune, and a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce. Mr. Sachdev's expertise lies in his ability to help organizations unlock their true potential through people. His career includes key leadership roles at esteemed companies like Tata Industries, VMware, and Dell, where he spearheaded transformational HR initiatives. At Tata IQ, as the Chief People Officer and a Business Solution Evangelist, he is instrumental in driving people strategy to meet the business outcome, formulating policies to attract, develop, grow, and retain talent for organizational growth. Similarly, at VMware, he led the HR function of IT, product R&D, and global customer operations of Bangalore and Pune sites, ensuring smooth functioning of the sites by delivering the required business outcomes. With a strong foundation in talent acquisition, organization development, compensation, and employee relations, he has successfully navigated the HR challenges in both domestic and international markets. His expertise in working with diverse teams across regions propels him to foster a collaborative and inclusive work environment. As a strategic partner to business leaders, he is committed to developing and implementing effective HR strategies that align with the organizational growth. His specialties include startup growth, employee experience, and change management and policy development. It would not be wrong to say that Mr. Sachdev's contributions have left an indelible mark on every organization he has touched. As a token of appreciation, we would now like to invite Professor Anupam Ghosh to felicitate our esteemed guest, Mr. Amit Sachdev. Thank you, sir.
Today, we exalt a pivotal transformation in the corporate landscape, where HR professionals ascend as visionary architects, no longer merely overseeing talent, but unveiling the essence of agile and adaptive success with cutting-edge technology as their guiding constellation. With utter joy and ebullience, we gladly present the theme for Vachna 2024, Talent Acquisition and Retention in the Age of Digitalization and AI, where the future of talent management collides with new age innovation in a symphony of possibilities.
Talent management today is not merely evolving, it is being reimagined, redefined, and recalibrated to meet the demands of a future propelled by digital ingenuity. This paradigm shift not only transcends the mere adoption of new tools, it heralds the dawn of an era where foresight and agility dominate. AI-powered recruitment now discerns ideal candidates with surgical precision, while predictive analytics preempt challenges before they even surface. HR is no longer a reactive function but a visionary force, mapping pathways to success by forcing tomorrow's needs today. Talent acquisition becomes a tailored pursuit, and retention matures into a deliberate strategy rooted in empathy, well-being, and continuous growth.
This is not merely an evolution, it is a radical revolution, an awakening poised to redefine our perspective on the value of human resources. Join us on a captivating journey into a sphere where groundbreaking innovations elevate talent acquisition, retention, and development to a new dimension. Envision a world where decisions are not simply reactive but infused with foresight, where the people experience is not merely enhanced but elevated to a holistic journey, and where the employee engagement transcends ambition to embody a deeply sustainable partnership. As we unveil this transformative theme, prepare to immerse yourself in a new paradigm where innovation is not a mere support but the lifeblood of HR itself. The future of HR stands here in the dominion of radiance, strategy, and teeming with unparalleled potential. Together, let us stride boldly into this monumental shift and embrace the vast opportunities awaiting us. Guiding us through this enlightening journey is our esteemed moderator, Mr. Amit Sachdev, whose expertise will steer our collective exploration. The questions from the batch have been collated and given to Amit sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, VGSoM. Maza nahi aaya. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, VGSoM. That's the one what I was looking for. Are we? The same energy? Thank you for keeping us. How many of you slept morning 3 a.m. or before? All right. How many slept 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning? What about you all? Yes. So we are with you.
10
Right?
p.m.
10 p.m. I was about to cover that because I was also along with you. All right, so we just talked about the journey. So there are a few disclaimers in this journey. Untighten your seatbelts first. Do not shut off your mobile, but keep it on silent if you can. That's a request. You are free to use not the airlines inside intranet, etc., but you can use the chat GPT. Though I was told during the breakfast, do not announce that. Other I would say disclaimers are, today what we're going to discuss across is some of the questions which were sourced. Few of the CHR community and we are networked with. So put all the lefts on my side on the hot seat. And at the same time, some of the interactions I had late in the evening yesterday with that, some those source, and some questions which we were captivating and keeping in mind some of the source which we took in from the chat GPT as well. How many of us in this hall today have a chat GPT account? Wow. All the best. All right. Few statistics, I want to pick it up. How many are the one generation was born before 96? We call it millennials in this hall. We still have, okay, millennials, okay. So you know the statistics, right? Less than 3%. Millennials, baby boomers, all before. How many are from 96 to 2012? I'm 2005 actually. We are dealing with Gen Z, huh? So panelists.
Not just Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
Alpha is going to come some, yeah. All right. So small introductions to the so-called millennials and before and the Gen Zs on the other side is that millennials and before has always looked into a technology, as what Professor Ray said, as an aid or technology for humans, not humans for technology. For example, we were blessed with internet and intranet at the max. Can we resonate? Very few any which way, so this one. So all the Gen Zs and Alphas are the ones who blessed with the smartphones to begin with as a technology in our hand on that. So that's the shift has happened. The other shift that has also happened is while millennials and before we appreciated the stability as into the way of life or way of looking at learnings or experiences, while the Gen Z, which is transformed further, and Alpha, which is of here and now, which is more speed, more, I would say, push, etc. The other side is also, if I look at the millennials and before, We also valued a certain set of, I would say, experience over know-how or a quick knowledge as an implementation, and as an outcome was a respect has come out. Wherein, if I see the Gen Zs are more looking forward towards following their dreams or a passion or something which I like doing it. And if you're wondering how am I getting it, not the chat GPT, that's my 14-year daughter whom I defined her when she was 11 with a new definition of age called 11-teen. So that's how I have been learning faster with them. So if I look at these transitions happen between the generation we are going to address today, there are a few things which is also comes into our context today. We, around 5 years back, we were talking in the similar setup, the word called VUCA. How many of you have heard this term VUCA, V-U-C-A? All right, so very good. Anyone would like to take a shot? What is VUCA? From the student audience, please.
What does V stand for?
What does V stand for? Let's start with that. Thank you, Darshita. Volatile. Okay, what does U stands for? Okay, what is C stands for? And what is A stands for? Okay, how many of you heard the term BANI? B-A-N-I. Yes, we have already moved into BANI and I could see. What does B stands for? You can use ChatGPT as I said, you know, announcements. You can use Google's, etc. B stands for brittle, right? So if you see the transition from VUCA to brittle is all about things which is taking about what is relevant yesterday may not be relevant today, and smartphones is defining. To give a quick example, who has the Android edition version 14 in this hall today? All right. How many has 12 version? Or how many, haven't we looked at it also? Okay, on the Apple side, who has the latest version of software? Okay, which is the generation you are using? Right, so which is the previous two version? How many of you are using or have used? And we are already talking Apple, i17 is already on the process, right? So this is how things are getting brittle. What it was relevant yesterday, what is going to be relevant tomorrow. A, what is the alphabet A stands for? ChatGPT, use it. Anxious. The VUCA's A, ambiguous, is now turned to anxious. And why does anxious comes into the place? Because one, what was relevant yesterday, which is not relevant tomorrow. So how I'm going to transition to the path? And that is where some of these transitions are coming through the culture which is coming up as collaborational areas. The more you talk, the more you communicate, the more is the transparency, and that is exactly what is transpiring to the Gen Z. And if you reflect on from the last 5-10 years who have been into the corporate, the workplace setting has started changing. Instead of having those four walls, there's a lot of open areas and collaborational areas are bringing, so that anxiousness start coming downwards. Then N, what does N stands for? Non-linear. So what does this linear stands for? As an understanding? A little louder? Okay, an example? All right, I? Sorry? Incomprehensive, right? And that is where actually this summation of the previous call as VUCA, right? So this is going to continue, and that is how to solve this in some way or the other. We as a generation, which is in this hall as a majority, are looking at generative AI to somewhere or the other pick it up there. And today's conversation is all about bringing back to the HR theme, and that too in talent acquisition and retention. How is the digitalization and the artificial intelligence is going to have it? And as Professor Ray mentioned, we as a corporate, we need to be mindful of not only the use of it, but be very careful about getting misused about it as well. So there is a very famous saying, and if you can let me know the character behind it, a Starbucks on me, but whoever raises the hand first, you have to answer that then. Okay. With power comes, what is the character behind? Thank you very much. So, your good name, please? Rishabh. Rishabh, I owe you a Starbucks. Let me add a revenue to Tata's at least. So coming back, so one Starbucks just got one, and believe me, there will be many more during the time we are in this journey. So let us kickstart with the permission to all. Do we have a permission? Can we start now? We got the context. Now we are going to move on to the first set of directions across is, how is the talent acquisitions and retentions? So if you see from some of the statistics coming out, 50% of India's population currently is below 25 years of age. 60% of the populations, if I club it along with 50%, which is below 25 and up to 35, is around 60% of the population. And while we've seen the kind of a technology advancement coming in, and so is the experiences has to also move in that direction in the corporate world. So folks, I would like to start off with a very first perspective from your day-to-day experiences in the respective industry. How you see in your experience of your organization as well as in the industry, the digitization and the artificial intelligence is creating some shift or change in your day-to-day work in the space of talent acquisition and employee retention. If you can add some of the examples, so that will be helpful. And in the order, I would say Aditi, Darshika, then Ravi, then Sandeep, and then Vivek. Over to you all.
Hello everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Amit. While I'm sure my learned colleagues here or learned fellow panelists here will give a lot of perspective on the talent acquisition, but I wanted to just spend just probably a few seconds on what is really shaping the shift, okay, because there are a lot of macro trends that are happening, and that is extremely important to understand, because talent acquisition, retention doesn't stand alone on space. It is important because of the industry, the sector that we are in, or for that matter, the economics around us. Because without economics, without business, all this shift that is happening will not be happening at all. So the broad macro trends, I'm sure many of you are already aware. There is an advent of everything smart. You will agree with me? There is smart corridors, there is smart factories, there is smartphones. These are all smart. Now, if you are working in a smart environment, there is no other option but to adopt AI into the workplace. The second important macro trend, which is shaping talent acquisition and retention as well as HR practices, very importantly, is the whole Uberization of industries. You have to understand that, it's, for example, in our kind of industry, in financial markets, can you imagine the kind of data that gets generated in financial segments? And these kind throw a lot of insights into how you're going to channelize consumers as well as people within the organization. The third macro trend, which is extremely important, is the whole disruption of the business model itself. Today, if you see talent acquisition in early, at least in when I had joined industry, it was very, very linear, what Amit was, what we had. You have somebody come in, walk in, and then you hire that person, there is an interaction, there is an interview, you make notes, you have, then you kind of say that, okay, it's mostly based on human analysis that you hire an individual. But what has happened is, because the way the business models have changed, there is a brick and mortar model, there is a freemium, there is a circular economy that is happening. All of this has made the hiring process itself redundant, what we used to do earlier. And that's the reason also shaping the way we hire talent into the organization. And last but not the least, another macro trend which is happening around us, which is also shaping the way we attract talent, because I'm sure the Gen Z that is sitting here will not want to join an organization which does not have any strategy around zero carbon footprint. Am I right or wrong? So these are some of the macro trends that are impacting every sector, not just my sector, every sector. And that is shaping the way workplace strategies are getting created and cultures are getting built. So that is what I wanted to share, Amit, my 2 thoughts on this, just to give a macro sense.
And maybe I'll just continue to build on it, but I'll share a story. So during COVID, we obviously were working in Bombay, and then we moved to my husband's hometown, Sagar. My in-laws are doctors, so my mother-in-law is a gynecologist. And I was the head of HR, so I assume I would get some respect at home. But my mother-in-law, being a gynecologist, she would come home, and I used to be on calls, that's how we operated in a COVID-related time. And she would say, okay, you're so much on calls, are you calling people to join your team? Are you calling people to join your organization? Are you taking attendance of people who are coming in? Are you giving out paychecks? Are you checking if the salary is credited? That's all, as an educated individual, she could think of HR as a profession. You know, this is like, can you create an agreement about, I'm hiring a nurse in my hospital? Or just understand the nuance of how difficult it was to explain what an HR or any business individual does in a regular business, because of the sheer shift that has happened in technology to be able to take care of these elements. You don't call today to say, oh, would you want to join me? Your systems are automated. No matter whether we recognize it or not, but intuitively, and Amit asked a great question, you know, the way technology seeped into our lives, and we saw it a little more than you saw because you started with Androids, we started with those Nokia phones. When I was getting married, I couldn't send the picture of my dress to my husband to coordinate, because that was the time of MMS, and it was pretty complicated versus what it's today. So technology is seeping in, and what Aditi was talking about are the trends. Do you all have your institution emails on your mobiles? Can I see a raise of hands? So it's no more you in the classroom is where you are. Very similar to when we look at our workplace, and we were just talking. There is no workplace today. You can sit out of a sofa and work the whole night. So those are the ways of living that has seeped in. The way we communicate. Do you use emojis? How many of you use emojis? Everybody uses emojis, right? What a thumbs up means? You know what? There was a case in Canada which says, this means I don't care. And it had to be taken to court to say, what does an emoji mean? So the way we interpret communication, the way we interpret it, I would say technology level interactions. We are all on Zoom today. We don't, organizations like ours don't even call people for interviews because your managers are not sitting here. So they're all Zoom conversations. So the way technology-based interactions are coming in the way we are operating is changing the landscape totally. And the third thing that I'll say is, if I look at information, do you, as organizations, we do background checks, we do a lot of check-in before we get an employee. But there is just so much information for an individual that is already available. And what did it do, especially in terms of talent acquisition? It did two things. It's no more about acquisition, it is about talent access. Today you can sit here, reach out to your peer, sitting in some other foreign university and discuss a topic you intend to. Very similar things are happening in corporates. My talent access has globalized, but that's where it's even more active to be retaining talent, because even their access to organizations and corporate life has increased tremendously. So these are the narratives that you see when you look at acquisition and retention. the only caveat I'll put here as we discuss further, talent acquisition is not just external facing. It's also very internal facing. So because we have technology, digitization, now AI seeped in, my profile being in the system, people know if there's a role that comes up in the organization, there's an internal talent that's sitting there. Earlier, there was no knowledge of it. I mean, Aditi talked about Tata Steel, the kind of organizations we come in, they're massive. You know, you're 164 in your batch, right? Or 148? 64. And you pretty much know each other in your junior batches as well. But when we talk about 100,000 plus organization, nobody knows and nobody cares. But because of this technology being seeped in, you're able to build those linkages. And hence you would see a lot more integrated approach to some of these solutions, whether we talk acquisition, retention, or whichever way we look forward. Yeah, over to Ravi.
Thank you, Amit. Wonderful insights from Aditi and Darshika. So I'll just add a little more to that. I think both professors spoke about at least two things. One was about disruption, and the other aspect was about more transparency leading to better efficiency. And I think technology, whether it's AI or generative AI or whatever it's going to come next, because this is not the end of it. We are going to see something else coming in far beyond AI. And like Professor said, AI is a very old technology. It's just being used today and research has been done today. So I think what's going to happen, Amit, is we are going to get disrupted much more. And Amit's question on Bani and VUCA are actually very, very relevant. It's great for us to have our minds wrapped around it. It's happening on a day-to-day basis. We see this in our offices. We see it with customers. We see it with processes like recruitment is getting disrupted. So I think the mindset that is going to shift is something that all of us have to deal with as leaders, right? So, and if you're entering the workforce, which I guess all of you will very soon, and some of you have worked, I think the number one point for all of us is how to deal with this disruption and how to put our minds around it. So it's a mindset shift. And I think that's something, we are still doing, right? I think all of us, despite having 30 years, etc., are still doing that, whether with children or with people in the office. The other aspect that I'd just like to point out, extremely very important, things are getting commoditized. So a process like hiring or even a retention process will always lead to a business impact. And I think that is what all our leaders expect us to do. Look at an impact and put it down. Yeah. So that's what I think Darshika was saying. Recruitment process has become so transparent that all of us, it's like a blockchain, you can actually look at efficiencies at every stage of the process. And I think we all need to be ready for this. It's become a supply chain process, right? So we were talking about supply chain today morning. It's become a supply chain process. One example from the retail world, and that's where my company operates, is we create personas, right? So if I have, let's say, 1 lakh kind of stores in India, I'd love to have the same kind of experience given to the consumer in every store. So it comes back to the kind of recruitment I do, right? So the kind of persona that AI can create for you as an organization and deliver it to all these stores and ask the store managers or the franchisees to hire at least an 80% connect to that kind of a persona. That's what technology can do for you, right? And I think that there are many such examples and we'll talk about it. But I think all of us need to prepare for this if we haven't prepared. I especially liked what the professors have talked about, disruption and mindset shift. That's what technology brings, and it brought to us many, many years ago. I still remember, Amit, way back in 2001, we were just asking, who's born when. But 2001 or 1999 is when I was in L&T, and we were actually looking at Oracle, SAP, and Ramco systems to actually implement them in an HCM environment. Finance was already on SAP that time. And till today, I'm doing the same. Guys, I'm still doing the same work in my current role as well. I'm still looking at technology that can better what I have today as an HRMS. Yes, yes, of course, far, far ahead, but you know, we're not there. I'm just saying that this is a continuous journey. It just disrupts us. We need to be ready for it.
I forgot the question. Can you repeat the question? So, yeah,
The question
I
is,
got it.
how is the talent acquisition and employee engagement as in a general overview, which is impacting now?
Okay. So, first and foremost, a step back, the kind of company where I come in from. So, we were born in the pandemic just 4 years ago. So, resilience has to be DNA. So, we had no choice but to operate from our homes. Okay, so there was no discussion about coming to office or hybrid. It doesn't work that way. Year number 2 happens and Russia and Ukraine decide to have a party. Okay, so geopolitical forces again affect our markets, and we have to think whether we should be selling diesel at 125 rupees a liter, but we can't do that because that's what we are buying at, or sell it at 105 rupees a liter, which the PSUs are selling. So it's a regulated market. Okay, so we make losses month on month, 400 crores, so on and so forth. That is the point in time, we wrote down our company values. One is customer focus. Second one is agility, ownership mindset, digital focus, and diversity and inclusion. So very, very simple. It has to be digital focus. Cannot compete with the oil PSUs, the EV charging companies, the CBG companies, all at once. If we are supposed to add on manpower, 1 lakh people would not be sufficient for us. So everything is an app inside the organization. So digitization is key for us. We cannot survive without that. Agility is key because, we don't necessarily sell something which is unique. Okay? You don't see the color of petrol, or you don't feel the electricity charge. You don't put your hand inside the plug and say, how does it feel? You just, take it. So product is undifferentiated. So agility is extremely important. The customer wants to go to the washroom when he visits our fuel station. Washroom is dirty, doesn't work for us. Okay, so you have to think far more. Now coming back to, we, number 2 also, we do not have ready-made talent. Nobody is coming out of an institute after learning EV charging. Nobody comes out that way. So we take a normal pizza base, okay, and put up our toppings on it, and that is where GeoBP University came into play. Okay, so that is how we build talent. So as such, we do not have a talent problem because we are not necessarily going after, specific folks. As far as AI and talent acquisition is concerned, it's necessity for us. Let the AI part do the heavy lifting. Go through the resumes, shortlist them, send those interview letters, nice experience, hello Sandeep, welcome, so on and so forth. You spend your time in terms of evaluating. You spend your time with people. So it has allowed us to do the people part of the job and not necessarily feel tired at the end of the day. I sent 20 emails, 40, 60, 300 emails. So that is how it works for us. An extension on the engagement part, every employee touch point, how made it. Okay, I have a dream that we should have an invisible human resources function. You should not be seeing anybody. Okay, so that dream should come true after I retire. Right. There is also another one.
So Vivek, over to you on how AI in talent acquisition and employee engagement in your industry bringing a shift or a change.
Perfect. Thank you for repeating the question. First of all, I'll start with a question to you all. So you can be really open. So how many of you use Gen AI, some kind of Gen AI, ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot to create your resumes or enhance your resumes? Wow. So it's a kind of open secret, right? So everybody is using it, and nothing wrong in it because it's been proved and it's been kind of tested for being a great content creator. So in using it for creating a CV. So on the other hand, we are also thinking in the same way because we have to screen the CV, right? We have to kind of find the right candidates. So we are also looking into a lot of solutions which are really good at finding the right talent. So that's where I mean, like, you might have all heard, and you might have all, at some point of time, might have got frustrated about, like, the resume screening, AI resume screening, which is kind of, followed by most of the companies or used by most of the companies, because, that from a trend perspective, right, what you see is that since people are getting smarter using Gen AI, so, the companies are also trying to use tools which can help them to make the right decisions from, being smarter, being faster, being kind of agile, and so on. So that's where I mean, like, the ATS are getting more and more intuitive with, the Gen AI kind of functions like resume screening. You have like automated sourcing as well. So as one of the panelists were saying, you have to look into the internal talents as well, right? So there are tools which can automatically bring you in the top talent, which is available within the organization, and stack it for you when you post a job. So it's pretty much getting more and more intuitive from that perspective. And when we look externally for talent, right? So one of the recent development and one of the game-changing thing which is happening right now is that LinkedIn has come up with the AI recruiter, which can source talent. So you see more and more these providers who are in the HR space are coming up with these kind of technologies or the product releases which can change the game, because that is going to save a lot of time for the HR professionals who are involved in talent acquisition. Because the AI recruiter might even take up the job of a sourcer, because it's going to source the profiles. It is still in kind of in making. It's not yet released, so the pilot has been going on. So in 2025 is what they're expecting. So that means that there will be a lot of transformation in the jobs as well. So that's also a different trend we can see. And apart from that, you see at every touch of the recruitment process, because recruitment is seen more a transactional process, right? It's kind of linear. You can kind of play around with it from organization to organization. It might differ, but most of the things are transactional, which you can scale up with the power of AI and which you can bring in the value. So what does it mean for the candidates would be like, again, you can be smarter, you can be using AI to create your resumes, maybe like to ask for questions, right? You can maybe ask a ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot, what are the questions that I can expect if I'm going for an interview with Johnson & Johnson or some other companies, and it can help you to get those kind of insights as well. So it's two-faced. From the talent perspective, the talent are using it, and the companies are also trying to get smarter, trying to understand how exactly we can go through that nuances and find out who are the right talent for our organization. So that's what I would say for talent acquisition. So coming to the talent engagement, it's also getting more and more from an AI perspective, because you see a lot of, since COVID has taught us, we can work pretty much remote, hybrid, and whatever it is, right? So the engagement also kind of needs to pick up with that. And to scale it up, you need to use the AI-based tools which are needed. So we might be using different tools maybe not specifically AI, but again AI integrated tools like a Mentimeter during the meetings, like the Menti.com, which is helping us to get the pulse of the employees. We also use different tools to understand the employee pulse surveys to get the data and insights out of it, and derive from an AI perspective, understand how the departments are doing, what needs to be done, and making decisions based on that. So it's more and more getting intuitive, and more getting people are also adopting to it, wherein no in-person kind of touch is happening in HR and being more automated and Gen AI focused and so on. So that's what I would put across.
Thank you, Vivek, and all of us on setting the context as well as some of the general insights around. So we picked up something which is touching on talent acquisitions in the applicant side as well as the employer side. What I also talked about in the touch points in the employee on the engagement. We also talked about customization, and we also talked about some of those which is touching onto the business outcomes, and that's which helps us dive into the next. I'm going to split the conversations. First, we'll take the talent acquisition now. I'll give you some statistics coming up. So I was doing some research on the Randstad report, which is recently out. It talks about how is the job climate for the management grads. So it says about that it's good or bad times comparatively. So for India specific right now, though it's a global report and it has a deep dive into India. It says that 24-25, overall it's a good time. And it says says in India is 63% favorable and globally is 54%. And this is in the age group between less than 35 and above 35, which is 54%, hovering around 5% between the age less than 35 and above 35. And the location is split into three, which is fully on-site, hybrid, and fully remote. And that's where the talent acquisition and so-called AI coming up. One of those reasons behind AI adaptation in talent acquisition was verbosely talked about is it saves cost for the organization and time of processing, because the quantum of application coming in for the said position has increased multifold. So if I put this into the holistic context, in the space where AI is being embraced into the talent acquisition, and in these respective industries, what are your views that how different sectors are adapting or willing to embrace the AI with one of these statistical examples? And if I can request Vivek, you can pick it up on this, how your sectors is picking up AI in that, how many are open in this sector and they represent you, and Aditi, in the sector you represent, how is the acceptability into the embracing AI in talent acquisition?
Perfect. Thank you. So you brought in a really valid point, because if you see the nature of jobs, right, as per a recent study by World Economic Forum, because of Gen AI, there are going to be like around 3.1 million jobs impacted. What does it mean is like some kind of impact. It could be that we would be seeking more people with like, kind of experience or exposure towards AI. And that you could see pretty much from the job descriptions which is getting posted. And another study which I pull out is like LinkedIn has published that there has been more than 50% of increase in terms of Gen AI mentioned on the job descriptions which are posted on the platform. So it is changing from what the employers are seeking. So definitely that's also going to impact HR and talent acquisition as a function for sure. Because you need to kind of find these people first of all, and you also need to kind of bring them to your workforce, right? So I will definitely say that it's getting more and more with like how exactly you attract this talent, and also how you build and upskill this talent. So for us, from a consumer industry perspective, we are definitely seeking people with consumer acumen, so people who can really improve the consumer experience, maybe like people who can enhance the bots and AI and so on to improve that. So that's how the trend is going towards. But again, early adopters, but I could see that it's picking up. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. See, I represent one of the sector which has been massively disrupted by digitization, AI, predictive analytics, which is financial sector. And frankly, what has happened in the financial sector, and you will realize when you're doing banking, when you're doing insurance purchase, you're doing, you're doing trading, you are doing so many things in the financial sector, right? What has happened is now we've stopped using job titles. We've stopped using job titles in financial sectors. What we started talking about is skill classification. Because in financial sector, titles are only meant for market. It's not meant for, hiring. So when we do subset classification of hiring, we've started, looking at sourcing. When we do sourcing, I always encourage my team to forget about title, what they hold. Look for skills. Because skills is what will matter in the financial sector. And what has happened is, thanks to the social media, thanks to many of us actually putting our resumes in the social media, the kind of work that we do in the social media, it has helped in classifying skills. And that is what we use to source candidates, okay? वो headhunting का दिन चला गया, जहाँ पे phone करके हम लोग headhunt करते थे. Okay, now your resumes, your skills are available in the click of a finger. So we use that in the financial sector a lot, and that in the talent acquisition space. That's a very simple example I'm giving you, Amit. And the other part is, also you'll have to understand that Financial sector is one of the, one of the sector which is also disrupted with regulatory norms, government policies. So many government norms are coming into the RBI se leke SEBI, all of them regulators are in financial sector. Now with all these regulatory regime that changes that are happening, are we ready for hiring talent fresh from the market who can handle this kind of a norm? So that is where, predictive study has helped us a little bit, because we've seen that, when we hire, where we hire from, has helped in giving us some insights in the regulatory landscape navigation. Because it's extremely important that it's not just bringing in talent from the market, it's bringing in the kind of talent that can handle this uncertain regulatory regime. So that's why my limited point here.
So Darshika and Sandeep, if you can share an example from your organization or the company you know of who are implemented AI in talent acquisitions.
So maybe I can talk through practices around how are we intuitively bringing in AI to our practices is there are companies which are doing assessments which are now all AI enabled. There are companies which are working on shortlisting of profiles basis the inputs that they have on the resume using AI. Professor Ray spoke about knowledge and Aditi spoke about skills. A lot of companies are using AI and other digital tools to help organizations and people marry the knowledge gaps and how can they fill in. So these are direct correlations to how AI is being used in acquisition practices. And the thing is, it doesn't stop at acquisition. You need to engage. You need to ensure that the person who's taking up a job or a role, external or internal, is also successful. So how are you enabling AI to gradually inducting and preparing that person to be successful in that role? And Aditi gave a fabulous example of regulations. Irrespective of the industries, Ravi spoke about customer-facing retail organizations. I'm into healthcare now, which is more of HCP or a doctor-facing role. One is acquisition, the other is how do you engage and how do you enable the person to be up there, show up for your organization at every instance. And the companies are using AI, learning, very heavily integrated to day, and technology being used as sharply as possible, because one, it's become easy, with all of us on mobiles. That was not the case earlier. So when computers came in, people had to be taught how to use computers. Today, I don't know, I'll be very surprised. A newborn would, if you show the newborn a screen, they would be attracted to it. So that's how we've evolved and we are evolving. So one, it's easy. Secondly, look at the penetration. The house help I have from a remotest town has an Instagram account, and the first thing she asked me when she came to work for me was, "You don't have an account? I have so many followers." So the ease of using that technology and the penetration is also enabling this whole integration.
Sandeep, quick in 30 seconds.
Quick one. Yes, so the quick answer is we use Zing. So whatever functionality Zing provides to everyone, provides to us. Second, beyond Zing, what we do for us, integrity becomes extremely important because we play with a lot of money in fuel. Okay, so the values part, we have it in the form of a game. A very small organization is helping us with that, but we are able to kindly, at least filter out people whom we think are doubtful. Okay, so that is second. The third part is because you have to learn so many new things. Today you are doing EV, tomorrow you could be doing CBG, CNG. So along with NIIT, there's a curriculum which is pretty responsive, some things are absolutely the same. Yeah, so those are the things which we keep on doing, but still some time.
Thank you. Just to add up some of the folks, in addition, what are the other organizations are embracing in talent acquisition? With, like you said, there are different purposes, different organization is using. Oracle is one of those AI recruitment solution provider for Kotak Bank, which is using only for the purpose of reduction of manual work. And they have, over a period of 5 years now, they have been able to reduce the manual work to 51%. Similarly, some of the organizations are using Zoho as a tool to reduce the fraud in video on interviews as well. So there are different purposes between leverage for an AI in talent acquisitions. And to give a context, some of the Tata IQ, what we are looking at, our in-house algorithm, which works is on the resume parsing. If when you do, one of the recipe I can share with the aspiring in talent acquisition career is, we look at the ratios percentage between the power words used as ending with ed versus ing, completed versus completing. So the more the ed is, more likelihood of being selected into the job description, which is more towards action oriented or result oriented roles. If it is research, then ing works better there. So some of the questions we had in the evenings, so this is how you could look at, put your power, put your strength onto your resumes, the number of eds first, ings followed by. So that could be a one tip around. So
just to add on to that, so we use I versus we to kind of, screen.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so somebody who was looking at yesterday with me about resume, how do I get probability higher in getting shortlisted with the recruiting companies, HR? So these are some of the tips you may want to take away. So I'll take a quick 1-minute deviation and come back. So folks, there's a contest for the second Starbucks gift voucher. Rishabh, you're not eligible. Okay. Number of pictures you take it from your place to the dais, or with the selfies, and post into your VGSoM's Vachna's handle. Whoever gets the first 100 likes, take a screenshot and send it to Anjali Sahu with your name and your badge. The second Starbucks is on now. All right, so coming up to the next, which is now moving to the employers. We just talked about.
Amit didn't offer this to any of us, by the way.
We are getting the beer, not Starbucks.
All right, so we are talking about AI, talent acquisition. So AI is, if I look at some statistics which is coming up in the space, in last 1 year, April 2024 startup metrics organization talked about, there are 6,000 startups which is focusing, 6,000 plus rather, in our AI in India right now as we speak, of which 29 has moved to the Series D funding. Now, if some of us is looking at, is AI disrupting the job? No, it's actually creating the job. So let me break that myth first. Now, in adding up to the same, now what we are looking at is, if the jobs are getting created, as an individual employers we are now, and we have our own set of opportunities and challenge in embracing this AI in talent acquisition specific. So Aditi and Ravi, the question to both of you is, what are the challenges organizations may face according to your experience, because with a different industry you come in, Aditi, with a different industry you also have come in, may face in embracing AI, and what will be your thoughts?
Ravi, should I? Okay. Sorry. Okay, I go back to my industry, and I come from a highly regulated environment, okay? I think the biggest challenge, and I'm sure the esteemed professors sitting here will agree, the biggest challenge as an employer or as an organization we face, not just me, rather every organization, the more data you generate, the more stringent are your cybersecurity norms in the organization, okay? So I want to say that, you know, the challenge that organizations face today is data privacy and cybersecurity measures that we need to incorporate and instill in the organization, because if you do not have strong audit, InfoSec audit norms in the organization, you know, you are creating vulnerabilities for the organization to be, and especially the people who are leaving the data footprints in the company. So I think that is something that, as I'm sure all organizations would face, especially in the financial sector, that we need to be very cognizant of and take adequate measures, because I'm sure all of you who apply for jobs or rather, you don't want to give out personal identifiable information, because that gets, you know, somewhere those are used, you know, something in some way or the other. So that is one. The second, I would say, is challenge that we face in the massive use of AI, and I will have to say this, is the loss of human touch. And I'm sure it has been said by most HR leaders, and I'm going to repeat it, because sometimes what happens is when you are an HR function and when you are dealing with large-scale employee strength, you cannot go to the last mile standing, okay? You have to use the help of AI and predictive study. Earlier, we used to do a concept called RAG, red, amber, green, to, you know, kind of, it's a manual method of identifying whether a person will resign in the next 1 year or 2 year or not. Today, that same job is being done by technology, okay? They are giving you predictive study. Now, can you imagine, when I talk about RAG to my team members who've never had done RAG before, you are reliant on a tool where earlier we used to use the human mind. So that is what I think as a challenge. Sometimes we should not lose the ability to think on our own, and that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Aditi. In fact, I'll just echo what Aditi is saying and, you know, add something else. The human touch is a worry that all of us have. It's just not proven that it's going away 100% in certain processes, but it's a worry that all of us have, and that tends to derail implementation of technology. It's happening as we speak. It happened earlier. In the end, you know, it gets overtaken with other worries, but that worry always remains. So the whole idea is to have a balance between the human touch and use of technology, and I think, Amit, that's what all of us are struggling with. The second aspect, and some of our professors here spoke about it, it's about, you know, the mindset. It's about what made me successful till now. Why should I give it up, right? And a lot of us think that way. Now we cycle from here to our hostels, and, you know, that works for us. Why should I start running from here to the hostel? Or why should I take a, you know, let's say a different route and go to the hostel? I take a shortcut. And that's what happens in business as well. A lot of us in business are happy with the way business is performing. It's doing well, it's doing great, and why should we change it? And I think that's the same thing with technology. Things are working great today, why should I change it? In fact, you know, we were discussing today morning about, you know, certain organizations that keep, you know, modifying their business, adding more business, buying new businesses or getting into new businesses, and you always worry that, you know, we'll end up like Nokia or something. But, you know, you have to keep improvising, and the same thing with technology. I think this whole thing in the mind, especially of business leaders and many of us, including myself, is this thing about it worked fine for the last 10 years. Why should I now bring in some new disruptive technology to get it done? I think these are the two areas, Amit, that I would point out.
So Sandeep and Darshika, a straight question to you. If I use a word or a statement, future of talent acquisition. So when I say this, what are the transformative practices you foresee will be a reality in 2 to 5 years down the line, which this audience will be actually experiencing at their workplace for them?
Okay. So, you know, I want to go a step further. See, the job reframing and framing will keep on continuing. So what I'm doing, I may not be doing tomorrow, okay, and day after, which is why the entire reskilling part is going to come into play. No skill will last for more than 5 years, hot. If it's a tech skill, 2.5 years. So if you're not learning, then you are not moving. If you're not moving, then you're dead, okay? So for high performers, any use of any tool for that matter, be it AI, could it be anything for that matter, will enhance their performance. Others, their productivity will be enhanced, and the rest we have to get them on board. Okay, so that is how we look at it from a future of talent acquisition perspective. It will go much deeper. Possibly 6 months back, anxiousness is because you are never ready. Okay, so what we do is, once we give you an offer letter at campus, for the next 8 months, there's a program which teaches you future skills. There's a program which teaches you how to collaborate, because we have forgotten that part. How to collaborate. Some office skills, all said and done, your bosses are going to be us for some time at least, before we retire. So you want a smooth, harmonious workplace. You don't want fights out there. So when people land at GOBP, they're kind of almost there. So future of talent acquisition is possibly not necessarily talent acquisition, but what you do much, much before that.
And maybe I'll add to it from a lens of, now when we're talking about the future, it is not just talent acquisition practices, it is talent practices. And how do you connect, engage, build talent? And that's what you'll experience in all what you do. Processes will continue to be more and more intuitive. Ravi talked about supply chain mechanisms, not just in acquisition, but across, whether we talk of succession, whether we talk of any talent management practice. So your processes will continue to create efficiencies using technology, efficiencies of time and efficiencies of cost. When we were being in our workforce, when we started off, we were interviewed and then we waited a month before we could hear, what's the outcome? Are we moving for the second round? Today, Sandeep spoke about agility. It's about instant gratification, right? We come from an age where there used to be a serial which was telecasted every Monday, door opened, and then you wait until next Monday to realize, who's there. Versus you binge watch today. Right? Amazon Prime can deliver you today, now. So as you look at talent practices, talent engagement and retention that we've been talking about, if I don't address my talent needs, whether it's an interview I've had with you and I've just gone to slumber, whether it is you have a learning need that's coming forward, if it is not there immediately, there's no real motive of it. That's how we are evolving as human beings, and that's where you'll see technology being used in instant solutions. Whether we're using bots are being used across all organizations we sit in. We have learning platforms across the organizations we sit in. The other thing that will be very, very critical as we look at disruption is personalization. Nobody likes, okay, you like it, so I'll have it. Gone are those days. So the immense personalization to engage any kind of talent, even 160, well, I forgot the count, 162. Okay. So that's very different, because I'll tell you why. Your experiences are different and your aspirations are different. So I have interviewed people who said, listen, I want to be a radio jockey, but my parents don't see it as a valid job, so I'm looking for something. So how do you engage and connect with talent with the shift of our parents, earlier generation, our grandparents worked for need as an economy. Our parents worked for want. The current generation, including all of us, we're working for will. I mean, the kind of holiday conversation that happens in office is tremendous. So how do you look at your talent acquisition practices to be able to cater to this personalization in a multi-generational workforce, mind you? We are the most multi-generational workforce that we are in a workforce today. The engagement levers are very, very different. I still have a manager who would come at like 9 in the morning, sit till 6, work or no work, and somebody like me who works remote 100%. So that's the values we bring inducted with in the workforce. So as you look at your talent acquisition practices, to be able to cater to this is also equally important, and will continue to use technology in those spheres.
I can't agree enough on the variations we have heard so far. So guys, are we good so far? Just taking up a pause. If there is a thumbs up, can I see that? Not the thumbs up which Darshika defined it in the Calcutta side, but let's have a double thumbs up like this if we are good to go so far. All right, so that's the instant.
Yeah,
we are
and
learning from the
maybe I'll just
generation.
take one more minute to share.
Go ahead.
Ravi and Aditi spoke about the human touch. I'll tell you, irrespective of the technology that comes in, humans will be required to create, manage, and elevate. And whether technology is of the highest form, neither are we hiring robots, nor are we hiring for robots. So that element will continue to stay, because we have AI, but AI is only as intelligent as much input you give. So that ecosystem is also evolving. They know only as much, so there is AI bias which is being talked about today, and that's where human intervention will continue to be.
I think you have already touched to the segments we are moving in, which is the talent management, which is integral part is retention. And retention all happens when you have an engagement, and engagement is with a touch point. I come back to the offer of Starbucks. This line is open for 100 likes till midnight 12, okay? Because I know a lot of us we are awake late night, so I'm giving the deadline. So Anjali, you will have a lot tougher time in receiving the first 100 likes screenshot. So coming to the next, in the talent management, in talent engagement, today's retention. So we just talked about the variation of workforce at office 9.6, work or not, to a complete work from home for Darshika. How many of us are envying with Darshika's role right now? How many are eyeing that kind of a role right now? Can you raise a hand? 100% work from home?
Listen, it requires a lot of travel.
All right, so we have the nuances of both, work from office as well as from 100% remote as well. So if you see the Gallup's report on talent engagement retention, which is recently got published, which talks about the global and the Indian and South Asian countries. I'm going to take only the India specific right now. So what are the top 2 drivers for the Indian job market or a talent market, which talks about is, there are 2 drivers which drives employee retention or a talent retention. One is the clarity of a role or a purpose for which they have been hired or they are been working on. You rightly said, Aditi, it's no more a title anymore. It's about the skill and the knowledge you bring in and how you are delivering onto that aspects, and then the purpose is there. That is why a lot of organizations nowadays do quarterly town halls to keep reminding the purposes and taking a stock at it, how are we lead, lag, or meet the targets. And then the second driver is basically on continuous support, or a lack of better words, sponsorship from the organization on skill building or a learning environment, which you also talked about, e-learning or continuous learning and development in that space, because technology is moving fast. So if you look at these 2 drivers as well, so now the new term has come in for HR to focus on the talent retention or engagements or management will be on 3 dimensions. One who's coming full 9 to 6, we call it fully engaged categorization. You have to do a retention for those separately. And the second which has come in, which is called as either hybrid or work from home, they are categorized under not engaged. And that is why a lot of HR initiatives are coming in directions of well-being, etc., while you are in hybrid or otherwise, etc., and support, facilities, benefits. Surprisingly for me as well, when I was going through this report, the third category has come in actively disengaged. And that's the time bomb. And you know what? The actively disengaged is the 18%, which is also average to 10 industries in India, top 10 industries, which is driving economy of India. Their average attrition is also 18%. So if I look at this spread as a stats and some know-how and research, so in order of, I'll go a little different now. Vivek, Sandeep, Darshika, Aditi, then Ravi. As an employer, how are you leveraging big data and analytics in building, creating talent retention strategy in the here and now? And what are some of the success or failures, which is learnings you can share? So I'll start with Vivek, then Sandeep, and Darshika, Aditi, Ravi.
Perfect, thank you. So I'll also add on one more aspect to it, because we also look into it from a generations perspective, because that also changes from what the Gen Zs might look for. Wouldn't be the same for the baby boomers or the millennials, right? So we have created intuitive kind of dashboards based upon the data, trying to understand what exactly, how is attrition looking like in these generations, locations, functions, and so on. That gives us intuitive data from, again, you can say it could be a Gen AI focus, because we also have a platform where you can ask the questions and it gives you the answer, like what is attrition in a specific function or whatever it is. And coming to the, how we address it, right? Especially when you see Gen Zs or the generation coming after that, maybe Alpha, they might be looking for more hyper growth careers. Like they wanted to maybe because of that is possible, which is being proved by startups, because you can now start as a CEO or a GM or even beyond that, you can go, right? But in a metrics organization like us, it would be tough for that, because it's like we have defined career paths where people grow from one level to the other. So that's where we have something called gigs, which is coming up, which is which we practice pretty actively, because that gives you an opportunity to move on to different roles, holding your role for some time, and then you work in different projects, utilizing a specific capacity of yours, which will give you exposure to different functions. Say somebody from a sales can take a gig in marketing. So that will help them to kind of future-proof them to learn new skills, and then maybe something comes up in marketing, and if that is their aspiration, they can move on to that. So that is something which we try to mitigate, but again not as startups where you get hyper career growth and become a CEO in one shot. And apart from that, skill, as my co-panelists mentioned, right, skills are picking up much and more momentum at this at this stage, because the life cycle of skills are also getting diminished. Maybe skills would be skills now would be not valid for down the line 6 months and so on. So that, how we are mitigating is providing more learning opportunities and the learning platforms that we are kind of investing on, and upskilling, reskilling, and so on. So that's all something which we are trying to do from a retention perspective to make sure that what is appealing for each generation, and trying to understand from our pulse surveys, getting data and insights, embedding AI, and trying to kind of mitigate that. So those are the best practices I could talk about from a retention strategy perspective.
Yeah, so some pointers. The whole world's data and our employees' data is all available at a click of a button, and it is accessible to everybody. But who acts on that data is the first manager. If you don't have anything here, this actually doesn't matter at all. Okay, so that link, because our managers are also young, the average age of hire is about 27. So an investment into them. Okay. This won't happen till the time you don't know what you want to do. So while there is AI and so on and so forth, why are we here? What Jio did to the telecom market, we are going to do to the fuel market. Period. Simple. Okay. No nonsense. We are here to make profit. 10 years down the line, if all of us survive this, you should be this. Clean, clear message. That is called as career pathing, or whatever we call it. Okay. There are only 4 axes. I like what I am doing. my manager is a decent person, my team is somewhere I can compete with, and I'm proud of this organization. So these are the 4 axes on which we work, and we leverage every possible technology. We have 5 different businesses, everybody thinks extremely differently, and let them think differently. We have no problem with that, so that's our way.
I'll give you 2 examples of how we're using it. One is on retention and attrition. When you look at the studies around engagement, and when you look at internal data, you would realize, and Vivek brought it up, again taking a cultural nuance, we are very, very aspirational people. Asians are very hardworking, very aspirational, taught to come first in class. We used to be like, I mean, that used to be the motivation. Class mein first aana hai, right? And today our parents are little liberal, but when we were growing up, and I'm sure all of us will agree here, or who are sitting this side of the table, is either you study, or you hold a business, or you're good for nothing. There was nothing in between. So when you look at predictive analysis, you would see this high velocity to move roles, or high adaptability to the roles we fit in and overdo it is far higher. And I'm talking global data. So when you get an Asian into the role, in 18 months, rather 15 months, they're thinking, what next? And not because they are edgy, but genuinely our adaptability, the way we've been born and brought up is higher. So we've been able to establish success, we've been able to learn out of the role, and hence our need to move is higher. So typically anybody who's in the role for 3 years or so, you would see maximum attrition happening there. And how do you address that? It becomes very, very imperative. The second example that I'll give is, and Amit touched upon a beautiful point of continuous learning. So we have a platform which is AI-enabled learning platform. But I'll tell you what's the beauty of it. It's not about integrating multiple learning landscapes and internal programs to say, now you go learn. And it is about understanding what are the roles in the organization, marrying what are the skills required to be successful in that role, marrying what are the macro skills required in the corporate world, what is that you like to do and what is that you don't like to do, and how would you want to build your career in our organization. Do you want to build breadth? Do you want to build depth? I want to be a scientist and I want to be a scientist all my life. No, I want to be a general manager and I want to become a managing director at some point in time. Very, very different career aspirations, and hence what skill to build. So when you're able to input this to this system, it can throw you the right learning curriculums, the right mentors you can reach out to, and the right, Vivek spoke about grow gigs, right experience assignments you can pick up to build that particular skill and hence make an individual more ready for a role. And learning, whether you look at any study or survey, is a great engaging factor. So if I believe I am being developed and I have an opportunity to grow within my organization, my learning agility is high, then my engagement goes up multifold. So that's how we're using AI to integrate it to regular engagement and retention.
No problem. So I think a lot has already been said, and I don't want to add to that, but I'm going to say something a little unconventional from an HR point of view. I think talent retention, talent attrition, whatever we want to say, whichever way you want to talk about, you have to accept the fact that there will be attrition and there will be issues of so once you accept the fact that there's going to be an attrition, now what you have to do is to see who you want to retain. So this is what I think in the whole talent space. So we've been using a lot of this study of not massive trying to retain everybody. We are trying to retain, or rather focus on skills which matter. I keep talking about skills because my industry is very different, okay? Niche skills are extremely important. So we use that to prepare product developers. We need we need people with, Python knowledge, data analytics and things like that. So we need product developers, people who can design products. So we use a lot of data analytics to prepare our people for that. And number two, which I wanted to say is, all of you have heard about NPS, right? Net Promoter Score. We use the same concepts with data for eNPS. So we try to reduce the number of detractors and see how we can improve the number of promoters of the organization. So that's the two bits I wanted to share.
Yeah, in addition to what everyone has said, I think I agree with Sandeep. There's a lot of data. It's a question of how we use it. I earlier worked in an organization where, similar to what I think Darshika was saying, a marketplace. So there was a marketplace for talent, and there was a marketplace for jobs. Of course, it's all fueled by technology. It was, I guess, Workday that point of time and ServiceNow. But very clearly, an availability of people across the organization that a manager could pick up from. It need not be a full-time job. It could be a gig. It could be something for, let's say, a couple of years. It could be 6 months. But making this talent thing, fully transparent and available was the whole idea of using technology. On the other side, from an organization point of view, ensuring that all roles are available to all kinds of talent all across the organization. I think democratizing that was also something, this organization did. Some other things that, a lot of people in our sector do, this whole connection to purpose. You use a lot of technology, of course, to bring that in, but, looking at a social aspect of doing business as well and not just profit, and engaging people to contribute to that within the organization and even outside the organization. And I think drawing some inspiration from that, that also leads to a whole lot of retention. We were talking about it. A lot of young folks actually ask you questions in interviews about, your sustainability index. What are you doing for the social sector? What are you doing for the underprivileged in areas where your factories are, for example? And I think, building that purpose and connecting people to that using technology is a great, source of retention within the organization.
Thank you. How are we now? Good to go? Do a little lighter now? All right. I'll do a little softer one, but very important aspects. Different industry brings different culture. And on top, to add the complexity, different leaders bring additional complexity to the same industry-based cultures. And now we are talking about the baby boomers or the millennials working with the Zs and the alphas. So this is going to again further disrupt, if I may borrow the term, again disrupt the norm. We are already into the theme. So from there, how do you see the cultural awareness and inclusiveness at workplace is going to play a key role? And some of the examples if you can share. I'll put spot Ravi first and then the order till Vivek.
Well, there are quite a few things, but fact remains that bringing in this whole urgency aspect, a lot of leaders do that, whether with technology or with disruption. I think that is something that really engages and charges the whole organization. The second aspect is, I keep saying this, it's about the right mindset, and if that is brought into focus through the right behaviors of leaders, I think it becomes a lot more easy for the organization to do.
Right. I think inclusive culture is all about, honestly, if you ask me, if we can make everybody sing, dance, and the same floor, that I think is the most beautiful part of inclusive culture, right? So I just leave one thing, small thing about how inclusive organization can be through an inspiring story. Just 1 minute. One of the students from IIT had been an AI developer. He built AI tool for autistic, you know, employees. And by doing that, what he has done, he's opened up the entire marketplace for people with autism. That's the inclusive culture, and that's the strategy we should be talking about. When all of you go to the workplace, you must have this kind of a mindset. That is not about people like us. It's about everybody. With everyone, we should be able to sing, dance, and make merry. That's my little bit of.
Thank you, Darshika.
Very interesting. So as we look at culture, I think there's an aspect to DEI, but there's an element of belonging. So a lot of organizations are working around creating the aspect of belongingness, and how are they doing it? One is creating personalization using technology that we all spoke about. So if things are catered and curated for me, obviously I'll feel belonged and engaged. Sandeep brought in a point of people leaders. The people leaders are being trained and coached and guided to build this element of belongingness and unconscious biases. I'll give you a very small example. I had a management trainee who came to me, hey, listen, I don't smoke, how do I build equity in my team? And I was like, why do you need to do so? Because she said all the conversations related to work was happening at a smoke break. Such a small nuance, but I think the manager's sensitization around these could really help. And the third one is when you build a culture where it is personalized and you can foresee a success and you can ensure success for everybody, obviously it will stay competitive, but you have a sense of security, and if I perform well, life's going to be good. There is an element which comes in the E aspect of DEI, which is equity. For example, I'm working from home, but not all my colleagues are working from home, right? But they're good with it, and so am I. I'm traveling extra, nobody's traveling extra, but I'm good with it. I'm not cribbing about it. So this element of equity needs to be put forward to support individuals, again in a very personalized way, will lead to a more engaged workforce. And I'll also introduce a concept here. As we look at this personalization and all across the cultural nuances, there's a huge need of organizations to adapt to you as who you are, or I as who I am, beyond my professional designation, which we called a term called whole self. So that increases the cultural aspects of bringing in, whether we are connecting, accessing talent, engaging talent, managing talent, and it is beyond what I want to do. How do I support an individual beyond work? Ravi brought in a point of volunteering, which is one of the elements of how do you continue to build what your core purpose is, why you working, and that's something that's bringing in very different cultural shifts than saying, this is my culture, you come and adapt it.
Thank you, Darshika. Sandeep and Vivek, quickly.
Yeah. So DNI is a core value for us. First part, DNI has business context because we sell to everybody, men, women, people with disabilities, LGBTQ, everybody. So whatever is there in the society, we want it to be reflective inside the organization, such that we can understand our customers better, such that we can sell better, such that we are extremely profitable. So it does have a business context for us. Benchmarking, what the best guys do, we do that. We are the Gen AI of the industry. We look at all the best practices from everybody and do it much better than them. Okay, so that's a very simple way for us is that DNI is business context.
Thank you. So I would start with our culture or the motto that we have as a company, right? So we believe in providing better care for better world, which is deep rooted in every aspect of our culture and employees and workforce and so on. So that's also reflecting on the DEI or DEIB to extend that. Of course, I mean, like we manufacture diapers for kids and women, so we definitely need to be taking care of data, right? So as consumers, so definitely we live with that. So I would add from a DEI perspective one more aspect, because we're talking about Gen AI and all these tools, right? So accessibility, which Aditi already mentioned, is one of the key aspects when we look into all these tools, because I can bring in COSI, Gen AI tools and so on, and if my workforce is not able to use it, right? So I would have diverse workforce who are having disability, who would have challenges using these tools, then it's going to be tough. And not just from a disability perspective, but also we do have a lot of manufacturing facilities. So we also need to be taking care of how the frontline employees who are in the manufacturing floor, how exactly they can use it. That's also one of the challenges when we talk about this Gen AI tools or any of those enterprise-wide tools that we use. So yeah, that's what I would put across.
All right, so stay there. So we are reaching out to the time boundary. So I'll start with a rapid fire. I'll start with you, Vivek. 30 seconds each rapid fire. If the audience is aspiring for a role or a talent acquisition in your organization, what 3 skills you would look for while interviewing them? Time starts now.
Okay, so I look for the cultural fit, obviously. I mean, how they are practicing that. Better care for better world. How it aligns with them. Then I would look for their learning ability, how they can learn and so on. And also somebody who's data savvy, because I work with a lot of data analytics. So these are these 3 skills I would look for.
Thank you. Sandeep, time starts now.
Spend 2 years in sales, then please join us in talent acquisition.
Awesome. Darshika.
I'll look for collaboration, I'll look for influence, and I'll also look for listening skills. We spoke so much about multi-generation and all of it. You need to have the listening skills.
Thank you. Aditi.
I think I would have also said the culture fit, but nevertheless, I'll add one more to that, is visualization. Because, without visual, whether it's data or whether it is human story, it's all about visualization. So I would also add that to that.
I'll look for people who have of course, the digital aspect, that's the tech, and second is in terms of learning agility.
I'll add up into the pieces: accountability, drive for result, and fit to the organizational DNA. So that's the 3 things which you would look into. For example, for Tata, it's never about I, it's about we. So that's how it goes with that. So again, rapid fire last with Ravi to Vivek. If you were to hire in a talent management team of yours, what are the 3 skills you would look for in interviewing the audience, which is the batch, Gen Z and Alphas? Time starts now.
Understanding what Gen Z wants or Gen Alpha wants. Second, use of cybersecurity tools as well. And third is understanding how the fit could be, which is old school, but still it's required.
Aditi, time starts now.
Yeah, so I think one thing I wanted to just add, which I think integrity. That I think is extremely important. I missed adding that point when I was saying that, because integrity is extremely important. I think what I would like to know is how to position brands in the organization. Brands, extremely important, because that distinguishes you in the marketplace. So that I think I wanted to add to that.
I'll add business acumen. Everything that we were talking about here, right from Vivek to Amit, whether you do acquisition, whether you do talent management, and gone are the days when HR was called the enabling function. Today, all of us sitting here, and Ravi quoted that term, we as business leaders, we are on the forefront of driving business. And if you don't know your business well, none of these fall in place. So business acumen.
Thank you. Sandeep.
So for me it is grit, because you come with grit, we will teach you the rest. Grit means sustained passion. You have people who are passionate, and then like a soda, it just goes off, So grit is important for us. Second, we want evidences of anything and everything. If you've done a Ganeshotsav society, organization, then we want to know. If you have made tea, then we want to know what are the steps in making tea. People say put this, put this, put this. But what kind of tea do you want? How many people, sugar, no sugar. We want people who understand details. So rest we will teach, there's no rocket science.
Thank you, Vivek.
Yeah, so I'd pick up cultural fit again, then the consumer mindset, because we are into the consumer goods industry, and finally, the learning adaptability. So these are three.
All right, with that, we come to the segment of putting all the hot seats into a little warmer and then chilling out. And I personally would like to say thanks to the entire Vachna team who has been very, very integral in making this whole event to come to this fruition. And a big round of applause for the team Vachna. My first visit to VGSoM, so the hospitality, care, personal touch. Thank you, Professor and Dr. Sanjeev, for giving us me the round yesterday. Professor Surajit as well. Thank you. And we met briefly as well, ma'am. So the hospitality, the warmth, right from our entry to the gate to the whole piece so far in here and now, for me it has been very, very touching as well. Thank you. I would let the forum, let's open the forum for the questions. All right, I have on the extreme left. You need to take your name, your batch, first year or a second year, and if there's a question, to whom.
You can ask a lot of questions to Amit.
First of all, thank you for insightful session, and my question is open to all. Actually, we have subject called business governance, and yesterday we are discussing about the topic called internal politics within the organization. So, and ma'am has asked us a question and we are not able to answer it properly. So, I'm asking to all the guests. So, question is, do you face any internal politics within an organization that is disrupting the culture, and how you deal with that?
I think I want to say a few words on this because last couple of months I wrote a blog on my LinkedIn profile on workplace politics. Okay. So I'll give a little bit of example from my own life, and I hope you learn from that. In my early years of my career, see, workplace politics is there everywhere. You cannot not be facing it. Some organizations have it in a little more. Some organizations have governance mechanisms, systems and processes kept in place that allow you to vent it out, share it and resolve it. So first and foremost, I wanted to say that it is there, and let's not say that it is not there. And the best part is that, a little bit of example, like when I had faced workplace politics in my early part of my career, and one of the way that I handled it is absolutely, of course it was very disturbing. It was not easy to manage and navigate this kind of a scenario. But saying this, I was very happy to say that it is extremely important to speak about it. If you don't speak, if you don't share, if you don't let it be known to the right ears, you are not doing justice to yourself and to the organization. So I think that's a little bit I wanted to share. And all of you, when you go to the workplace, you will be the one to lead organizational process changes. Build in processes, build in systems, build in cultures that allow people to be vocal about their views and share their thoughts. If you have that, you will find that workplace politics has a way of vaporizing in the thin air. That's all I wanted to say.
A small rejoinder to what Aditi mentioned. Wherever there are human beings, there's politics. You go to the moon and set up a camp there, you're still going to have politics. So you can't avoid it. I agree with her. But I think your question or your professor's question is more about if there's something that's disrupting business.
Yes.
Yes, right. So I think, again, going back to what Aditi said, it's about putting in place mechanisms or forums where this can be voiced out, number one. Number two, addressing it, right? If it's a person or a personality that is causing a disruption, then it's great to address that. And even if the organization says we can't do anything about it, it's great to address it and communicate it as well. And that's how you can minimize the effect on business. But you'll have to address it, you'll have to give a space to talk about it, you'll have to bring the locker room conversation into mainstream and, you know, confront it. A lot of organizations don't, I can tell you from experience, but it's great if, you know, you guys join organizations, please ask senior leaders to confront it.
Okay.
I'll just add on. So, you know, what I do, which I learned through one of the leadership courses, is that there is something called a tool called stakeholder mapping, which is like really, really productive because that helps you to map, understand the situation, map the stakeholders, and then take a step back and understand that why exactly that person is behaving in that way. So they might have a specific agenda, right? Or they might be trying to be protective about a change or something more happening in the organization. So trying to understand that, the root cause, and then addressing it will help you to be much more effective. So I would ask you to look into it, stakeholder mapping.
Yeah.
My views to this is will be more from inside out view, because as Aditi and says, politics is there in whichever form and shape. Just realize that are you which side of the coin, victim side or the other side. The second check to yourself is when you were not a victim, how much you enjoyed, which was in your favor. Now when you are not in the other that side or in the victim side, how much you are losing on. If your winning is higher than the victimization side of it, stay quiet, sail through out of it at the earliest.
Okay.
And I would say all of us are intelligent human beings. Everybody understand where is it getting, you know, used and where is it coming from. So come out of the shell of anybody can get away from anything. It has repercussions.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's answered my question.
All right, we have the second question there. Oh, here already. So go ahead.
Good afternoon, judges.
Your name, your batch, and question to whom?
Hello, I'm Harshita. I'm first year student, and my question is to Ravi Kumar sir. You have discussed that you try to keep similar customer satisfaction at all the stores by using a people factor. So what are the other factors that you focus on to maintain that integrity?
So a large factor is also learning and development. It's about, you know, is there a standardized way of dealing with a customer problem or a customer conflict or a situation or a product, and you can standardize it as far as possible. So that I'm not saying it's 100%, but if you're able to standardize that in addition to, you know, hiring similar type of people, learning and development. The third part is culture. If you're able to define it, and if you're able to put in behavior saying that all stores will operate in the same way, or all people at all stores will operate in the same way, then you're able to at least, you know, standardize it. We are not, and nobody is 100% successful. A Nike store you go to in the US and a Nike store you go to in New Delhi could, you know, treat you very differently. But that's where human beings come in, you know, they disrupt this, and then there's politics as well.
And maybe if I can take the liberty of adding with my experience from Nature's Basket, setting right accountabilities, who will do what in the store also helps create a seamless experience.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So my name is Rishi. I'm a second year student. So thank you all the panelists for it was a very interesting session. I just had a question. So the panel mentioned about leveraging AI and ATS during the shortlisting of CVs and during the entire talent acquisition process. So my question was that this has led to a rise of people who game the system. So there are people who perhaps exploit loopholes in the system and get more shortlists. So that might lead to candidates who probably might be more deserving losing out on their opportunities. So are there any safeguards in the organizations to perhaps prevent this from happening? And also, are the ethical ramifications of this discussed when the organizations are planning to implement such a system? That is my questions. It's open for all the panelists.
So AI has given us more time to find out the gamers. That is one. Okay. The second part is that you have to perform on the job. Maybe you manage to fool everybody, but ultimately you have to deliver. And if you don't deliver, you know what happens, right? So sooner or later it happens.
So I will share the experiences we had. So we did had during the pandemic side, during the pandemic period, the video on interviews where all of the malpractices from these applicant side which has happened. And believe me, those are the crazy innovations, huh? Crazy innovations if you talk outside of the forum. Uh, yes, we have learned from the experiences. As and when experiences happen, we have plugged those holes. Because you cannot be perfect with the first launch of the product itself. And same is with the first initiative. We all were evolving during pandemic, but some were evolving really faster to how to game it that systems. And we have learned those games and we have also failed. And that is why one of the tools which I talked about, which talks about fraudulent detections into your video interviews, because they pick up even your eyelid movements and your pupil movements. And to that you can, as an interviewer, we ask the candidate, even here and now kind of in a scenario, to share your screen in the split 2 seconds. Because if somebody else is doing, will not be able to. We have in a video recording interviews where a person is answering the question and you have seen the coughing happening, but the answer is continuing and the person is coughing right in your camera. Right? So you can make out those things. Again, these are all learnings. Can it be a foolproof? Never. Because that's exactly what we have been talking. We are moving generation to generation and technology is giving you that advantage. It's just about the learning. Are we embracing those technologies to do that? Percentage-wise, it is less than 1%, honestly. So sometime with the less 1%, you want to invest 1 crore, I don't think my finance guy will give me the budget. I'll rather have an example, then learn it, and then go to finance. Look, I have invested this much, and now that's the cost. Because finance needs some evidences before you get to the proposals around. So long answer to the short question, but yes, experiences are enough.
Thank you.
I will leave to the one who reaches the fastest to whomever.
All right, thank you.
Can we have one question after this from there? Because we'll see 4-5 hands after this, yeah.
Sure, sir, I'll pass on the mic there on. So first of all, good afternoon to everyone in the panel. Good afternoon, everyone. This was quite an interesting session. These are really the confusing time. We are both frightened and elated of the disruptions happening, but I'm talking on behalf of everyone that we are taking pretty good insights and new perspective while we are living from here. My question is rather more objective than on the abstract side. While going through an LinkedIn post, there was one very interesting post that I came across. There is a lot of C-suite activism happening, and one of the C-suite member in startups in India had mentioned very briefly about what AI is doing, what MBAs are doing, and how fast AI is catching up to MBAs. He had predicted by 2024 mid, 5 skills will be going out of which the top skills was first transcribing, second was the content writing. We already see that happening. His next prediction is that by the end of 2025, 5 more skill sets are going to happen. So what had mentioned in that particular abstract was first, an average MBA out of India does 5 courses: Power BI, project management, product management certifications, CFA, and apart from that, a variable and other courses. So, yeah, out of these 5 courses,
you have a mobile next to your pocket somewhere. I'll give an answer from short, quick 30 seconds. Whether will it be there or not there, it depends on the organization's intent and ability to pay that cost. If the answer in the combination is both are yes, then only it will happen. And we are a representation of multiple industry. Each has a different set of orientation to achieve that through the budgets available in the organizational year-on-year budget plannings?
So there's an article in, you know, a not very popular HR magazine, but that article kind of stuck to me. Mansi Singhal, if you can find out, Mansi Singhal and Aditya Mishra. So what they say is that entry-level jobs are not entry-level anymore, which means to say that if you look at the job descriptions 5 years back for entry-level jobs, and today they're different because the analytics part has changed. Nobody needs descriptive, exploratory. People want prescriptive, predictive. So the first 2 years of your life, which was soft landing into the job, you know, collecting data, arranging data, is all gone. Okay? People want you to take a call. At least take a call and come to me and tell me this is what you will do. This is one fact check. Second, I can write something on LinkedIn and everybody is supposed to believe me. At least that's not the way we operate, you know. When we say disruption means I will do what I am passionate about and I will make it happen. Okay? There'll be tons of people writing on LinkedIn, you know. So I had actually brought bread, cheese, toast, because 2000 everything was going to go fat. And the world was going to end. And I like these things, so I had got it at my house and I had kept it, but the world did not end. So please, when you read social media, you also think for yourself, is it that possible? Which geography it is going to be possible? Which segment it is going to be possible? Is it going to happen across industries? And if something goes, something comes. I had no idea that you could get food on an app 20 years down the line, you know. So we had no such idea that, you know, food comes from an app, or you know, vegetables come and you know, I can go and show this UPI business and buy a vada pav also in Mumbai. You never know what new comes in. So leave aside anxiety, please, because, you know, it's not going to work out. Only be restless when you are awake, but you should sleep for 8 hours.
And I'll take the example of Copilot. So we use Copilot. Copilot is a Microsoft tool. So when I'm on a holiday, it can go through all my emails and tell me these are the 5 emails I need to address. Okay. It can also give me very smart replies, which I can curate and send it across. However, what they can tell me is, your team is asking, should we do project A first or project B first? Even if the best technology, we can manage project A or project B. It needs a human mind to say what is more relevant for the business at that point in time. And that's where it'll always continue to evolve.
So I'll just add on to it. I mean, you know, I've been hearing about like recruiters will lose their jobs. It has been like, you know, for the past 10 years, like AI is going to replace and automation is going to replace and so on. But still there are recruiters, still there are, you know, the talent acquisition teams out there. So again, what I would say that it is changing. It might happen at one point of time. I would say the jobs would evolve rather than kind of, you know, fully getting vanished, right? So it will take time. As you know, the co-panelists were saying, I mean, like, you know, it depends upon the industry, their adaptability and so on. And what is important is that you upskill yourself and be ready for that time so that, you know, you don't end up like, you know, in a situation where your skills are outdated. So that's what I would put across. So try to upskill yourself, try to see what is happening in the industry, what's happening in the market, and try to learn new skills so that you're ready for that change.
One last question to any one panelist.
Hello sir, this is Reema and I'm from second year. So my question is around talent acquisition and it is to Aditi ma'am. So right now we are on the verge of disruption and influencing, especially on LinkedIn. People our age and up and coming leaders are putting up great stuff out there. So a very simple question is, what are the chances of me with probably a blank profile, not many posts, and equally great number of certifications would be in competition to a LinkedIn influencer, probably the same person out there with the same number of certifications and skills being hired?
First and foremost, LinkedIn is a hunting ground, okay? You are just, kind of having a sourcing or rather getting a feel of the talent available. Now, that is number one. Number two, one thing which is there that, social media, not just LinkedIn, it is how your connected networks work. For example, a person who's a sourcer or a recruiter is not just looking at your LinkedIn footprint, the person is also looking at your other footprints, Twitter, Insta, your other handles which are there, Snapchats, what you do, some other, so is there consistency? And today AI can tell you those kind of stuff, whether there is a consistency of conversations. So, because you're conversing, right? You're presenting yourself in the marketplace. So, that is one. So, number two is that, very importantly, while it may be able to, LinkedIn influencers have followers, that's why they get noted, correct? But frankly, if you do a proper search, when you use profiles, professional networking sites like LinkedIn, when you do a search, it will, and you can put one or two skills, and if you have rightly put your skills, it's not just about certification, it's also selecting the top skills. There is a section called top skills, so you have to use those top skills correctly. Then their algos will throw out the right, your profile will come regardless of the number of followers you have. So that's my limited point on this.
So
I don't know whether I could answer that question.
So I'll just add on to that. I would say having a good personal brand is really important. So if you have a blank LinkedIn profile, I'm not sure, as you mentioned, it might lose traction, right? Because recruiters are looking into it, or your professional network is looking into it. So it gives you a mileage and credibility, but it's not everything. So you need to have, the skills that you're looking for, right? That's where you need to learn, upskill yourself, and also kind of put it over there so that it is visible to people who are looking for it. So then combination of both would help. Again, not being an influencer, if you can be an influencer, great. But again, I think it's really important to build the personal brand so that it gives you a mileage, and it helps you to showcase your skills, your portfolio, your profile, or whatever it is.
So a simple answer to that is yes, the recruiters are looking at our LinkedIn profiles, and yes, it can get us better offers out there.
Absolutely. As I said, definitely people are looking into it, for sure.
Not necessarily better offers. It just gets you a foot in the door is what everyone here is saying. Yeah. So please don't get us wrong. Being an influencer does not make you a great fit for the role. It just allows you to be in the door.
Thank you.
I just want to give a different perspective. So if something is required for your job or the field which you are in and you're doing it, great. Actually, we don't want influencers. Because what happens is that whatever, at the slightest of discomfort in the organization, it is all over. Okay, I have actually spent last month 4 man days getting something under control. Okay, somebody makes noise on LinkedIn or any social media post, right, wrong, nobody even cares. The person you are speaking against is guilty, done deal. Okay, so we are kind of scared. Yeah. Okay, if you have done something related to your study field, most welcome. Okay, your interest must be RJ, DJ, but it doesn't work necessarily for us. So we proceed with caution.
All right.
And especially when we work in a very digital world today where, as you said, the human touch is a challenge. And the second thing is when you say you're being watched, are we just being watched digitally or are also we watched while we are in front of you? Because I'll share a very small experience. This was way back 2.5 decades ago. I was a PhD student in those days, and I'll name the company. TCS came. This was the first or second batch of hiring of MBA program students there. And of course, the Placecom team was well into action, as they always are everywhere, and looking into it. And then suddenly I see a lady, and I was a doctoral student, no placement, no nothing, or hope, right? So she comes out, she came out of the room once, loitered around the corridor. IIT is being very, very male-centric, in terms of population those days. Women washrooms and restrooms are very few, right? Of course, I'm talking way back. So she came out, went away. After a few minutes, again she came out, loitered in the corridor, went away. Then she comes out again. And then I asked her. I was there, I saw I just happened to share it. I said, asked her, I said, ma'am, do you need something? So she said, she asked me, where is the restroom? And it was 2 blocks away, right? I knew if I tell her go straight and then right, she's going to get lost because those of you who visited Delhi IT will see that there are parallel blocks there. So you don't get to know where you're leading because all the blocks are similar. Of course, things can change now, but I'm talking of 2.5 decades ago. So I just said, okay, right? And of course, doctoral student, no polish, no nothing, dressed in a simple attire and no placement. So, if it's a placement season on, the MBA students are all well-dressed, groomed. So nothing, I took her in there, and then of course she came out, and the day was over. I mean, I said bye to her, and she said bye to me. After 15 minutes, she again came out. Again, the same thing. I asked her, so ma'am, you need help? She says, have you applied? I said, no, I'm a doctoral student, so placement is not open for us. She said, I want to put that across. Because all these 5 times I came in and out was just to see and know, is somebody watching me and understanding that I need help? Okay, so, and then I asked her, I said, ma'am, honestly, if I will exceed my limits, can I ask you one thing? She said, yes. I said, ma'am, did you really need the washroom? She said, no. Okay, she just wanted to test wherein people at that, my students, of course I knew my MBA batches because I did some courses with them. They were all learning C++, C, Oracle, SAP. That was because that was the late 90s, early 2000 time when everybody was getting into that. And she says what we're looking today was somebody who also knows that what a need of a person can be and whether a person can notice the fact that I'm coming in and out. Is somebody even sensitive to the fact that something is needed? So, of course, that was good. I still remember and I felt very nice hearing it as a student. So what I'm asking you when you say you're being watched, do you also watch non-digital? That's my question.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think everybody will agree with me that sometimes the volume and the scale limits the personal touch. But I think one thing I am sure all my fellow panelists will agree that, and I think somewhere I had also mentioned that the human touch remains no matter what AI-enabled technology we do. But one small thing, and taking on from what you said, today we don't need to ask routes when you go to a destination. You ask GPS. However, in maybe couple of years back, we all, भैया कैसे जाएंगे इस रास्ते का destination, please रास्ता बता दीजिए. That personal conversation, I don't think any of us will say that, we do not want to encourage or we do not have that kind of a culture in the organization. All organizations will say, please have that conversation. Although the performance appraisal process may have changed, people are mostly typing and giving their feedback, but all the organizations here, I'm sure, and others will encourage and insist on personal one-on-one conversation. That is where relationships matter, is what I wanted to say.
Maybe I'll add.
This is one of the major leadership qualities that we look at today, because as a leader, gone are the days when the whole organization was reporting to you. I'll give you an example. In my organization, the managing director does not have functions reporting into them, but you are expected to deliver for the business, you are expected to liaison, and hence this whole need of coaching, connect, the ability to comprehend what the need is far higher. When anybody comes in, still when you do orientation programs, the need of doing field visits, I'm sure all of us emphasize upon it in our markets, not just to understand business, but what's that, if I'm sitting on a talent management process and I don't even know the guy, how will I be able to add to development, actions and all? And even more so because there's no direct reporting. So how do you sense this? I work in a multicultural context. If you go to Japan and you present it, they will not say a single word in the room. I'm not exaggerating, neither right nor wrong. You don't know when you come out of it, a good means that they are onboarded or they're not. It is when you strike those, I call them corridor conversations, they'll say, maybe this will work, this will not work. And you need to liaison before you go into a presentation. And this is a smart tip I can give you. There's no presentation where I walk into a room or a decision, I'll walk into a room when I have before I have two licenses outside of the room. And those are the little human interactions that will always and always matter, no matter how digitized we become.
We would now like to seize this moment to extend our sincere appreciation to our esteemed panelists. Your invaluable time and insightful responses have been addressed our queries and enriched our curious minds with clarity of thought.
In honor of their outstanding presence and enriching our conclave with their insightful words, we cordially extend a warm invite to our professors to present a commemorative token of appreciation and gratitude to our speakers. We humbly request Professor Shravanti Mukherjee to present a memento to Ms. Aditi Mukherjee. Thank you, ma'am. We would like to humbly request Professor Anupam Ghosh to present a memento to Amit Sajdev, sir.
Moving forward, we would like to invite Professor Susmita Mukhopadhyay to honor Ms. Darshika Chandra Khare with a memento.
Thank you, ma'am. We would like to humbly request Professor Viplab Datta to present Mr. Ravi Kumar with a memento. Thank you, sir.
We now humbly request Professor Sushil Punia to present a memento to Mr. Sandeep S. Joshi.
Thank you, sir. We would now like to invite Professor Surajit Mukherjee to present Mr. Vivek Jyoti with a memento. Thank you, sir. As we near the conclusion of this extraordinary event, we stand here filled with gratitude and admiration for all those who have made Vachna 2024 a remarkable success. Today has been a testament to the power of collaboration, curiosity, and the unrelenting pursuit of progress.
I would now like to introduce Dr. Sanjeev Chaudhary, the Faculty Advisor of VGSoM's Corporate and Media Interaction Cell. Dr. Sanjeev Chaudhary is a distinguished visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, specializing in strategic management and production and operations management. With an impressive 40 years of experience, he has contributed 6 years to academia and 34 years in the oil industry, holding senior roles in major oil companies in India and Kuwait. His expertise spans across cross-functional domains, including corporate planning, business performance improvement, operations optimization, project management, and human resources. Dr. Chaudhary is a recipient of numerous awards such as Kuwait Gulf Oil Company's Ideal Employee Award and the ONGC Chairman's Award, recognizing his dedication and impact. In 2016, he authored the book Optimization and Business Improvement Studies in Upstream Oil and Gas Industry, published by John Wiley and Sons. He holds BTech honors, MTech, and PhD degrees in Industrial Engineering and Management from IIT Kharagpur and has published widely in reputable technical journals. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Chaudhary to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. As we embarked on the journey to learn, explore, exchange ideas, and build an approach for the future for the talent management. I think the discussion and insights all have been shared today will be immensely beneficial to all of you, and these will help you to shape the future. Then as that host and all, so on behalf of the host, I special thanks to the panelists. So in spite of their busy schedule and all, they have agreed to come. I think immediately after this session, some of them will rush to the airport. So I could see the anxiety of that. But nevertheless, that this they have given, you have enriched this audience with your experience, sharing your that wisdom and the forward-thinking perspective. And all these have enriched the students and faculty alike. And so this has contributed for a deeper thinking, and I am sure the students and all, you will be influenced by these, and in the future actions and all, you can imbibe on that. Then I profusely thanks our Dean, Professor Sangeeta Saini, for his continuous guidance and support for this event. Okay. Then also Professor P.K. Ray, Emeritus Professor and the advisor of VGSoM. Whenever we need any advice or support, we go to him and he obliges us. Thank you. Then special thanks to corporate and media interaction cell, my team, that they have worked tirelessly for the past 1 month to make these things a grand success. But nevertheless, I scolded them many times, huh? But well done things. And those scolding will foolproof you in the future, huh? There you will get lot many scoldings. Okay, and also thanks to the Placecom team and the students in general, you have contributed a lot. Then thanks to our office staff, especially Arunabho, Shuman, Ranjit and all. They have the behind the scene people and they have made it successful. Thank you for that. Finally, the wonderful audience we have here, and for your enthusiasm, engagement, asking questions, and your curiosity and willingness to explore new ideas, and for that it is commendable, and keep it up. Okay, thank you. As we conclude, as the curtain drops, I thank all of you and I wish Vasana 24 from here you carry forward it further, for further exploring, for creativity and all, and make it much better in the next time for improvement. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we thus bid adieu.
We kindly request that the batch remain in their seats and we request the CMI team members to assist the panelists for the post-event proceedings.
Dear batch, kindly remain seated. Team Purvodaya would like to make an announcement.
Both the batches, please remain seated for the next 5 minutes.
I request everyone to please be seated. I promise you the next 10 minutes are going to be a pretty epic. Life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Euphoric afternoon, revered teachers, and the future business leaders. I, Sweha Rajora,
And I, Pratiksha Naskar, welcome you all to the
theme reveal of Purvodaya 2025.
A platform that ignites the spark within, propelling us towards a brighter future.
As we stand on the brink of a new era, let's delve into the heart of this year's theme. A theme that encapsulates the spirit of innovation, creativity, and resilience.
A theme that echoes the timeless mantra of progress, urging us to rise above the challenges and embrace the future with open arms.
And now, without the further ado, let's unveil the theme that will define this year's Purvodaya.
So guys, please turn around and see for yourself the banners.
Wow, it was truly epic, wasn't it? May we now have the AV, please?
The universe, born from a singular point, expanded rapidly, giving birth to space, time, and matter. Simple life forms emerged and evolved into complex organisms.
May we please have your attention, guys?
The universe, born from a singular point, expanded rapidly, giving birth to space, time, and matter. Simple life forms emerged and evolved into complex organisms. relentless force of change has driven the evolution of life, human civilization, and technology. From mechanical calculators to AI-powered devices, technology has evolved rapidly. AI, VR, and AR are shaping the future, promising to revolutionize industries and human experiences.
About the same size.
As we journey into the future, human curiosity and innovation remain the catalysts for this transformation.
As you have just witnessed, our batch is not just a group of individuals, we are a force for good. We are committed to making a positive impact on the world. We will continue to inspire and empower each other and together to shape a brighter